Hey
Hey, welcome into the podcast.
guys, I'm Mitch.
Oh, I'm dying. Hey, I'm Travis. It's nice to have you here, and buddy, am I glad to see you. It's
Heck yeah.
I need this moment. I need these couple hours right here. I
You
need
got
it
10
this week.
fingers?
I got them.
All right,
Oh,
I got them too. You
I can't
made
get
it.
them around the I can't get them around the mic stand, but yeah, they're all there. Uh, Man, it's been a fun week. It really has. You got me so tickled. We were actually talking offline just a little bit before we started, and oh, you got me messed up. They're trying to kick it off, but this is the Off the Rails podcast. If I didn't already say that, and if I did, then welcome to being off the rails with the Off the Rails podcast.
That's right.
With
Look, I
with
with
who?
who?
With who?
That'd be the Style Boys.
With a Z, because anybody can do it with an S.
That's right.
It's
We're
always
rule
corny.
breakers.
I don't know what to call it, but it's always corny. But I like it. I like it.
Well, let's yeah, so my job is to try to get Travis messed up when he's introducing us.
Which is
So,
very easy. It doesn't take a whole lot because I'm always like I think I'm to the point where I'm good, right, with the podcast. I'm good with the recording,
mhm.
but it's that hello. It's I feel like I'm afraid that my voice is going to do like the puberty crack when I say hello the first time, or
Yeah.
like I don't know.
Hello.
It's so bizarre. Like it's funny because like my wife will call me, when I'm working. She'll be like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Nothing, nothing." It's the first time I've said anything in like 3 hours. What do because
Yeah.
I'm usually by myself. She's like, "You sound funny." I'm like, "Well, I literally probably haven't spoke in an hour and a half, 2 hours. I don't know. Like I've she's so I'm kind of worried about that voice crack or something happening when I kick off the podcast, and then the roulette wheel of what you're going to do when the countdown hits one. You know,
And you only get that if you look at it on YouTube.
does it do the countdown? No, it doesn't. It doesn't show that countdown. Oh well, what you do?
Yeah,
Show
yeah,
them
because
what you
I'm
do.
doing it right
Yeah,
when it starts. This time was just a random tape measure and a funny face. That's all it
yeah.
took.
You got Peepaw's Stanley tape measure laying around in there. I don't know what.
Hey man, wait a minute. This is legendary, man.
Yeah, yeah. It needs to be
Do
put
you
up with a legend.
do you know that I have to have a tape measure in here when I'm doing drawings?
Why?
Because I'm like for instance, this last job I had to do 3 cabinets over a toilet, and I'm like, well, how high are they supposed to be? I'm like, well, maybe, and I have to stand up by a wall with the tape measure and go, that looks right. And then like knee spaces, I'm like, well, is 27 wide enough? Is
Uh,
28 high enough? And I'm down here measuring. I've measured this knee space at my desk 50 times.
I just Google it. I'm like, what's a standard desk height? What's a standard table height? What's a standard chair height? And then
Yeah,
you know, I'm like, well, my thighs are bigger than most people, so I have to add, 3 inches, or I won't be able to fit underneath it. But
yeah, I got thunder thighs too, and I'm going to apologize in advance. Um, I had a neighbor I met for the first time today. He's coming to get the air conditioner out of my old house, and so we won't just bury it. It's nothing. There's nothing wrong with it. And my neighbor Corey, who I know listens to this podcast, Corey is burning a bunch of stuff back there in the back. Corey,
you got a
so
burn permit, Corey.
yeah, you got a burn permit.
Is it burn
You might,
permit season down there? It is up here.
well, no, we just had a rain, so you'll be fine.
Oh,
But anyway, we were breathing all that smoke in, and we've been cutting plywood the last 2 days. That makes me hoarse because there's a lot of yelling over the saw. So between those two things, I may be a little bit, a little hoarse sounding. So don't pay that any attention. Just kind of just
yeah.
roll with it.
Are you wearing a
But
dust mask while you're cutting that plywood?
nope,
No.
nope.
I try to. I, I fail more than I succeed, but I do try. I do try to, especially with
Well,
MDF.
when when I have somebody catching, I can't because they have to be able to hear me, but they also have to be able to read my lips. So with a dust mask, I can't. They have no idea what I'm saying,
Look,
and nothing gets labeled
after
right.
COVID, everybody should be able to understand everybody with a mask on. Like that was what COVID prepped everybody for, was working in a wood shop with a dust mask on.
Not in Lower Alabama.
Yeah, we didn't wear them long here either, so we didn't get a whole lot of practice.
Yeah, but anyway,
Well, man, what's been going on? Tell me about your week.
all right. So this week was kind of a reset week. It was going to be a reset couple of days, but it turned into a reset week. We did get a lot of stuff, done. We're working on one of my builders' homes.
Yeah.
And we had everything drawn up first of the week. He approved it.
Drewed it up.
I drewed it up, drawed it, and he approved it after a couple of minor changes, right?
Yeah.
We'll get into those minor changes. But anyway, he's like, yeah. And I said, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make those changes, and I'll send it back to you. Let me know if you're good. He goes, no, man, if you just do what we talk about, they're fine. Ship it. I said, okay. So I guess he trusts me to not screw it up and understand what he's talking about, because it's pretty simple stuff.
Okay.
But we did a lot of shop cleanup this week. I have a barrel in the back. It's a 55-gallon drum. It was half full at the beginning of the week. Now it's all the way full with waste paint. So paint that's out of date. Paint, like if it's a really weird color, like we keep all the whites.
Yeah.
But if it's a weird color, a pink or a blue, we typically won't hold on to that. Once the customer gets their touch-up paint that I leave at their house, we chunk all those weird colors. If you happen to paint the inside of cabinets and you have 5 half-gallons of white, right? Like any sort of pure white, extra white, there's the alabaster, snowbound, any of those colors, you can use that paint for your middle coat.
That's
And
a good
then
idea.
you can use your final color paint, white, whatever white version of white it is, for your top coat. And that saves you from having to buy that middle coat of paint, if that makes sense. So instead of using 4 gallons, you may only use 2 gallons because you have, the middle coat here. So we hold on to the whites. So I had to call the company that gives us our waste drum, and I had to get them to be scheduled to come up here and get it. Who is that?
Hi, Mitch.
Oh, that's
Moose.
Moose. I can't want to say Snickers.
I'm on Snickers was the dog that was at my house in Greenville when my parents had that house, unfortunately. But I'm on dog watch because everybody's gone, and he's like not used to like not being alone, so he's searching for my daughter bad. Like,
You talk about a big old teddy bear, man. That thing. What is it?
He is a sheepadoodle. He is a sheepdog and a poodle.
I'm gonna have to take your word on that.
And he is true to the doodle love. He just wants to be up your butt. Just constantly wants to be with you. But he's pretty good old. He's pretty good. I'll give him that.
I heard he had a pretty good Instagram following.
I mean, it's there. There's somebody. He should post more. He doesn't post as much as he used to.
Yeah. Well,
it's Moose Tracks the dog.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, that's his Instagram. Moose Tracks the dog. Hey, Moose, you're shaking the whole table, buddy.
So if
you see me like looking around, it's because I'm trying to figure out what the heck he's doing, because he's just constantly
chewing
looking
on
for
a wire.
No, he won't chew nothing, but he is constantly looking for his sister. Sorry about that.
So we did
off the rails.
Off the rails. We're back. Get back on. So we did a lot of stuff like that. Threw away a bunch of stuff. I'm trying to lean a little bit this year.
So go back. I messed you up and you didn't finish the thought. So you said your waste company will gives you a barrel.
Yeah. So what they do is they give me an empty barrel, and then I call them when it's almost full. They come pick it up and drop a new barrel off.
Nice,
So
just like a 55-gallon drum.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And it runs about $400.
Ooh.
For them to take 55 gallons of solvent-based waste away and deal with it and recycle it and dispose of it in a legal, environmentally friendly way. and then they
So
bring me another barrel.
so let me ask you this. So because when I had the gun range, so every time we had to dispose of, items, we were disposing of hazardous waste. So like all the air filters, right? For example, when those get changed out, they're lead filled. They're filled with
Hmm.
small lead particulates, so they're hazardous waste. When we did the bullet trap cleaning out, all that lead, that was hazardous waste. So we would get receipt. We were required by TOSHA, which is the Tennessee Department of OSHA. We're not an OSHA state. We have our own. We have our own OSHA, which so OSHA doesn't come here because Tennessee OSHA does. But so we had receipt records that we had to maintain for that going away. Do you get receipt pickups of that, of like how much they took and like that where it went
No,
to next?
no, it'll just be an invoice for waste pickup.
Okay. So you have some,
And
but you have a record that,
yes, yeah, absolutely. I have a record of of a company that comes and picks up my. I don't know if it's hazard. It's not hazardous waste. It's chemical waste.
yeah.
So lacquer is, like I said, solvent based. It's flammable. You don't want to just throw it away in cans in the back of a garbage truck, and then some other chemical that somebody else dumped in, and now you got leaking paint. You want to avoid that. And like I said, we're not tree huggers,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I'm not going to go out on my land and dump out chemical waste.
Right. I
You
mean,
know, I'm
I don't want to damage the environment. I mean,
exactly.
I enjoy the environment. I mean,
Yep. Just be responsible. So, and that's $400 a year, and that takes care of all my chemical waste.
and how
Every
long
bit of
does it take you to fill up a 55-gallon drum? Is that
Like
about once a year?
about once a year. Yep.
That's okay. Well, that's not bad at all. I mean, you divide that over 12 months. When you consider, 12 months,
Yep.
into it.
And
You
it's
you kind of brought
cheaper.
up a good point. There's a guy, I don't know if you follow him or not on YouTube. It's called Bourbon Moth Woodworking.
Yep.
So he just released a really good YouTube video of a friend of his shop had a fire from rags, solvent rags being left. Luckily, somebody came by like right as the fire started and was able to put it out. But he kind of did a YouTube video of kind of experimenting with the rags. And if I remember right, he had 12 or 18 scenarios set up. Out of those 18, in like a matter of 12 hours, 3 or 4 of them actually combusted.
Mm-hmm.
So, just a little side note: you got rags and things like that. Make sure you're putting them in a fire can. Don't just leave
Oily
those in your
rags.
trash
Yep.
can.
Nope.
It's a good way to lose your shop.
That's and the long and short of it is when that stuff off gases or flashes off or the wet stuff dries to
Right.
you layman folks, it causes heat. It's an actual reaction. And if you have enough of those rags in a pile, and that enough could be 2 or 3 now. I'm not talking a barrel full of them.
Right.
Depending on your chemical that you're dealing with, it can start a fire and your whole business is gone overnight.
Yeah, he set all these up with like what would be rags left over from a single project. Like
Yep.
not like a collection of rags.
Yep. So
And another thing you can do is if you don't have a fire can or you can't, is you can lay those rags out and let them dry.
exactly.
It's kind of when they're kind of in that wadded
Yep.
kind of state that it's kind of like the base of a fire. Like when you were a Boy Scout and you got your little twigs and everything together to start a fire. That's kind of how the rags are when they're kind of wrapped up and tight together. It
Yep.
allows them to kind of create that off gas. If you let them kind of lay out and dry before you put them in that container, none
They can cool.
they'll cool right, and it won't build up enough heat for them to spontaneously combust.
Yep. So stain rags, we do it even though we don't use anything oil based. We still, if we stain anything, we'll lay it all out and we leave it laid out for a couple of days, and
Yeah.
then we'll dispose of it or do whatever we need to do. But yeah, that kind of thing, man, you got to be on top of all that stuff because you're talking about your whole business being gone overnight. And like if you lease your place or you rent your place, you rent your building. If you're in a big town, right, you don't want to wake up to the news
Right.
that's like, hey, half the city's burned down and it started in this guy's wood shop. So
And I don't
Yeah.
know. Make sure you check with your insurance agent. I've seen some ramblings on a couple of the pages here lately that connected garages, like guys that are working in their garages, or is it? I can't remember. Anyway, I can't remember what the stipulation was. Be sure if you're using your like garage space, whether it's connected or whether it's not connected to your house, if you're using it for a business and it does catch on fire, be very sure with your insurance agent whether you're covered or not.
Mm-hmm.
I recently, so it's kind of, I'll kind of divert for just a second. So, I recently bought that trailer. So to get the trailer insured, I actually had to change my vehicle insurance to a commercial vehicle. And the reason being, if you're trying to follow this, the reason being is because if I didn't do that, it would basically look like I was towing my commercial trailer with my personal vehicle. And it kind of like had a conflict of interest. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to I had to pull it off of my personal insurance, which it was under like this with State Farm. It was under this like semi commercial, semi not policy anyway. But State Farm doesn't do a commercial policy. So it had to come completely off of State Farm in order to be covered with the trailer in tow. So just little things that you want to check on, just to be sure you're covered. And yeah,
Yeah.
it was a few dollars more. I'm not going to lie. I think it's like $15 a month more. But boy, that $15 is nothing compared to if I was to have a wreck with the truck and trailer connected, and I'm out of truck, because of the wreck. So just ask those questions. I mean, I know it feels like you're going into no man's land because you're asking these hypotheticals in air quotes that
Yeah.
may or may not cost you more money, but it's just better to be upfront and to know than it is to kind of just hope that you go by and you don't need the insurance. Like
Oh yeah.
insurance
You
is
don't want to do
already
that.
a it's yeah insurance is already a record. It's a roll of the dice. Like you're paying
Mm-hmm.
all this money, and you're both. It's just like going to the casino. You're both hoping that you win. I mean the insurance agency is hoping you never make a claim, and in a weird way, you're kind of hoping you do make a claim because that's
Yeah.
the only way that you get some of your money back. Like
Your truck starts acting up. You're like, should I wrap this joker around a tree or something?
yeah, I mean so don't commit insurance fraud, but
No.
but do ask those questions.
Yeah.
Ask
And be
that.
sure, like if it's under a commercial, insurance, because you're pulling your trailer with it. Well, what if you're taking your wife out on a date? Somebody
Yeah,
rear ends you. I mean, just that's part of running a business is you got
yeah,
to think about those things.
especially a small
And
business.
yeah, be sure you're covered. Thank
Yeah,
God my wife stays on that, and we were covered on our house.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, for
and
real.
she's like, "Yeah, we got insurance for that," and I was like, "Ooh, boy," because if it was up to us men, we probably just do I have
Oh,
insurance on the house? Yes or no?
yeah.
Yeah, we've insured your bedroom against bats. Okay, well I'm good then.
Well, I will at least say I will give myself credit that I at least did think to ask the question.
Yeah,
But guess who I asked it to?
your wife.
I asked it to my wife for her to follow up and ask with the insurance company because I'm not going to take the time to do it. So,
No,
yeah,
no.
so it was 100% on her for accomplishing the task of getting it all converted over and getting it all correct.
Well, business now, yeah, we'll be on top of our business,
Right.
but like home insurance, nah,
Nah.
nah. But yeah, so we're doing a lot of cleanup this week. Joel somehow squeaked in 5 days of work this week. He didn't paint nothing.
I thought
So
about you earlier today. I was like, boy, I sure wish I had the glass man
oh yeah,
at
he'll
my
drive up
shop
there
today.
for a fee. He'll drive up there.
Well, I ain't paying him a fee to paint these stupid giant letters. Then are never going to go away.
So we did a lot of cleaning up, a lot of that kind of stuff. Got rid of the paint. I built a cabinet for the paint shop to hold. So we have a big cabinet for stain,
Yeah.
and then we had a small cabinet for paint, like top coats and colors and stuff. And what I was noticing is there's not a lot of horizontal surface in there for a paint can. So they were on the floor and they were hidden up under the table. And I said, we got to get these things up off the floor. It's not good to keep your paint on the floor, especially in the concrete floor. So I built this big, like 8-foot long cabinet and overbuilt it because it's going to be loaded with paint.
Yeah.
So we did all that and got all that. And so the way it is we got a little section on the right that is colors for the job that we're working on.
Okay.
So if they're doing a white and a gray, they stay on the right-hand side. Everything else is paint that we might or might not use until it goes out of date. And it's a huge cabinet. So
Yeah.
we did that because this year I want to focus, just like what you said when our wives were on.
Which was last episode. If you missed that was just
Yeah.
No. I'm sorry.
Nope.
Completely erased
You're
what I just said. I am editing that episode right now as we're recording this episode. If you missed that was episode 7.
Yep.
Episode 7 had our wives on it.
You guys said that you're looking at doing like a rebuild year, right? Kind of going through and what that is like, okay, let's reconfigure, let's look and make sure we're where we need to be, whatever. So we're doing the same
So it's all financial rebuild.
Yeah. Yep.
Here.
And here I am just hiring people, man, left and right. My wife's going, hey!
Some people got it. Some people got it. But there's a 3-year difference in the businesses too. No, wait, there's more than that. Where are you at now? You're at 6?
5.5.
You're 5.5. So yeah, there's a 3-year difference in the business. I mean, so that's to be expected. That's kind of like the old adage. I have to remind myself sometimes. Like I've got a friend of mine who's about 45, 46, does very well. And I can get super wrapped up and jealous, of his life. And I have to remind myself, like, he's not that much further ahead, but he is ahead, and he's had a little bit of time to do things. He's had a little bit, so when you're looking at other businesses, look at how old the business, don't look at how old the person is, right? That person may be very young, but he may have started a business at 18 and is 6 years in and has just learned a lot and ground a lot. And you could be older than him and not be where that person is, but you hadn't put the time in your business. Like, you got to be really careful comparing yourself to the Joneses, as they say,
That's right. Because and what is, like you see these business owners that are on Facebook and everything's perfect and they're at the beach all the time. They're at the pool all the time. They're at the river all the time. And it's like,
nobody posts bad stuff on social media.
Exactly. So there's, just keep that in mind too. Take all that social media that you see your business owner buddy putting on because, that same one might have just spent 3 weeks repairing equipment.
Right.
Well, 3 days repairing equipment, He may have a transmission out of his machine or something. So,
or he might be sitting on the beach trying to figure out how he's going to pay off credit card A with credit card B, so that he has a little bit of money on credit card C to pay. You just never know. Like, don't.
So check this out. And that's the builder changed because I had to go back to this. He did a design change, and on his vanities. If he wants a knee space, the way he likes to do it, I got one builder that likes to keep the countertop equal all the way across. So you got your one flat countertop. You may have a sink on the left, and then on the right you may have a knee space or whatever, powder desk, whatever you guys want to call it. But he likes his countertops to all be level.
So when you say knee space, back up for just a second. What are you referring to when you say knee space?
So this is where typically the missus of the house would sit and put her makeup on, and she's in a chair and her knees are under the cabinet. So it's just are you referring to the height of that or the width of it? Or yes. 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 Okay. So
the opening.
One builder wants a flat countertop where his sink is, and it's all one level. Okay. And his knee space is over here. The other builder wants his sink at 36 inches, but he wants his knee space at 32 inches. So he likes to drop his knee space down. Okay. So he said, right here, I want a sink. I want a drawer stack, knee space, drawer stack, sink. I want the sink and the drawer stack at 36 and the knee space and its drawer stack at 32.
So it kind of does like a step down.
That's right. Yep. So the left
Is
half
the countertop step down too?
yep.
In
The
the
left
middle?
half, yeah.
Okay.
No, the left half is 4 inches lower than the right half.
Okay. Got you.
Right. So I was like, okay, cool. I sent it over to him, and he's like, let's make both of those drawer stacks, the same height as the knee space.
Because it looks like a castle parapet, if we don't.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's keep the sink high and then both drawer stacks. And I was like, shoot, no problem, man. Dude, now, because I stepped my knee spaces, my vanities are 21 inches front to back.
Right.
My knee spaces are 22 and a half front to back. So now, instead of having, these drawer stacks with a knee space or whatever, now the whole bathroom changes. Now the sink is just one cabinet, and the drawer stack, knee space, and drawer stack is another cabinet. So we had to go through and we had to redo all of that, which took, a little bit longer than what I thought it would. And he did that on a couple of vanities. So I had to go in, and then guess what happens? All of your cabinet names change. So this was 3 cabinets. Now it's 2 cabinets, right? So anyway, we name all our cabinets. Well, you just basically got rid of a cabinet. And you
does your software let you name a cabinet what you want to name it?
Absolutely.
Mine does not, and it drives me bonkers. It really aggravates the fire out of me because it numbers them in the order that I put them in the software. So like sometimes, sometimes
that would
like
not fly.
No, right? It doesn't. So because sometimes you do this one and you need to do the upper before you do the lower, but you would like for your like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then because I know you do B's for bases and what do you call uppers?
O's
Overhead. Overheads. Right, that's right. I remember that now. My software just labels them as numbers, right? So it can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It kind of wants to know in the way that you put them in, and I'm like, it infuriates me.
No, mine is I can call it dog turd 6 if I want to. I name it whatever I want to name it, and then that.
Now I can name it. Here's what's crazy is I can name it, but when it prints it out or when it shows me, it moves it over to the cut list. It keeps its naming. Like it keeps the like I can name it whatever I want to, but it only shows really on the screen. Yeah, it does me no good. Yeah.
So I know that kind of got a little technical, but anyway, if you change, anytime you change an elevation, you also have to change the depth most of the time with cabinetry. So since we're dropping down, the knee spaces are lower than the sink. We also have to make that either come out and be a deeper cabinet or go in and be a shallower cabinet. So anyway, it threw everything off, and I had to do that on 2 bathrooms. So that changed all my face frame cut list. It changed all my drawers. It changed my toe kicks. It changed the number of cabinets I have. It changed the cabinet name. And it was a train wreck.
Just one thing leads to another.
Yep. So, but it's not a big deal. I mean, I'm not buying the cabinets. I don't have to look at them. He does. So it's like, he's like, yeah, looking at, and that's another good thing about sending the elevations.
Yeah.
You may have to redo them after you see them to scale and you see a picture of them. He goes, I think it may look better if we did this. And so, you got to take a few hours and redo it or whatever. But then you're not showing up with cabinets that he hates.
Right. And again, we talked about it one time, but just kind of a quick recap. An elevation is kind of like the front view from floor to ceiling. Like that's kind of the easiest way to understand it, as things elevate. It's just kind of a front view so you can see how things step up, how they step down, and how they kind of fall in line with each other. That's a common term that you'll hear. If you're building a house, or you'll even if you're building a house, you'll have like your front elevation, which is it'll show you exactly what the front of your house is going to look like from the street, or a back elevation, what the back of the house is going to look like from the street. And cabinets are the same way. You're going to have elevations so that you can see from floor to ceiling how things are lined and how they tier together and how they step.
Yeah, and if you
just
want
what that term means.
if you want to sound like you know what you're talking about as a customer, if you're hiring a guy to put a porch on or something, and you say, "Hey, do you have any elevations I can see?" And he's going to be like,
"Ooh, hold on, I might need to. I need to make sure I know what I need to mind my business and cross my T's and dot my I's, because this guy, this person knows what they're talking about."
Yep. And then sometimes here recently, one of the builders are starting to use a new countertop company, and they want me to send top views or plan views. So that's looking at everything from the top down with measurements. And so I'll send that, and they can really give a good, accurate quote on what the countertop's going to be.
Which is kind of what you would think of as like when you when probably the layman thinks of blueprints.
Yep.
For a house.
Yep.
That's kind of what this looks like when you see that cartoon drawing of a blueprint, or what in your mind you think blueprint. It's that the roof is off and you're looking right down on it, and you can see all the walls detailed out and how they are. You can kind of see the way the rooms are shaped. That's what that view is.
Yep. So we give that to the countertop people if they want it, and they can take care of that. But yeah. So we got his. We got all his face frames, but Tommy is finishing up the assembling the last few face frames right now.
Nice.
He was sitting at home, and he's like, "Dad, you going to the shop to do the podcast?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Can I go finish the face frames?" And I said, "Well, you don't have to, but yeah, if you want to." So he was doing that, and nice. Man, he was jamming out. He had the radio going, and I said, "Hey, you got to put your earbuds in."
What's he listen to? Let's. I need a little diversion, because I'm gonna have an ADD moment. What's like a young man of his age? What's he jamming out to?
I can't remember the name of the. He listens to like these weird groups that you and I have never heard of.
Okay.
And they're like kind of poppy a little bit, kind of mainstream, kind of stuff. So me and Trey and him were in the truck the other day, and I said, "Well, Thomas, what's the song you like to listen to?" And I said, "Because this new country is all about whiskey and women and pickup trucks." And so he's like, "Okay, well, let's listen to this by this." And it's some new, country artist. And the first lyric had whiskey in it. I was like, "Nope, let's go to another one." And from Troy to my house, 25 minutes, we went song after song after song.
Couldn't find anything?
Could not find anything that didn't mention a bar, whiskey, or a woman. And I was like, I said, "See, I can't listen to that. I'm not interested in it. If you want to listen to it, whatever." But I said, I can't. It's all the same crap.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he listens to some, I don't even know, man. He knows a lot of music through me. Because I listen from the 60s all the way up to new bluegrass, but 60s to late 90s, everything. Pop, country, whatever.
So there's a radio station that we both know. There's a radio show that we both know. And one of the games that they play is bluegrass or it ain't.
Country song or it ain't.
Is that what it is? But they play it in blue. No, it's not always a country song. Is it?
It might be bluegrass.
I think it's just bluegrass or it ain't. But they'll play.
Oh no! Name that grass is what you're talking about.
Yeah, name that grass. Yes. So have you ever identified a bluegrass song?
Oh yeah.
As the mainstream. So what they do is they take a mainstream song, and
like song.
Yeah, it could be like a AC/DC song, and it's in bluegrass. I have never gotten anywhere close. But you have to bid on how long that you're going to take to figure it out, too. So we're talking about like 13, 14 seconds. It's got it because nobody can guess it. So it like if I go and I say, well, I guess I can guess it in 14 seconds. And Mitch will go, well, I can guess it in 13 seconds. And I go, there's no way possible. And if he doesn't get it, I automatically win. So I go, all right, you can have it. 13 seconds is yours. And they play this mainstream song, in bluegrass, and I'm like, it doesn't even remotely sound like it's supposed to, But I know you listen to a lot of bluegrass,
I listen to a lot, 99% bluegrass.
so I don't know if does it translate for you pretty well.
Yeah, yeah. You learn to pick the melodies out, of
Okay,
all the background music, and because
yeah,
they do a lot of feel,
yeah,
music and stuff. Yeah, yeah. Your ear, now it does take time. You have to train your
yeah.
ear to pick up on the melody.
Nothing. I'm
There's a
like
lot of extra notes.
that sounds like a banjo falling down the stairs. I don't know what that is. It doesn't sound like anything I've ever heard before.
But yeah, so he's working on those. We have all the plywood cut out. Um, and that is that's about what we did. We cleaned up. We're oh, now my bad story,
Oh yeah, yeah.
right? So I said, shoot, one of my biggest problem is getting doors ordered at the beginning of the job. So as soon as this man approved his drawings, 7:30 the next morning, I had the door order put in. And I'm like, yes, I'm on it, dude. We're leaning out. We're getting more efficient this year. I'm not waiting on doors. Boom, I'm ready. Alan is out of the office today. This is an email. I emailed Alan my door list. Alan's out of the office. I will send this over to the door plant or to the door people, whatever. I said, okay, thanks. I get an email late that afternoon. Yes, I have no idea what this email is about or for. Can you please provide clarification? And is there anything we can help you with today? And I was like, so I said, you know what? I'm not even responding to this email.
I was real quickly seeing if we had the same rep, real quick, because I had a call from the Richard rep. Sorry.
Oh no, Richie.
For those watching on Facebook, wondering why the hell I'm on. I mean, on YouTube, wondering why the heck I just picked up my phone. He left me a voicemail. I wanted to see if we had the same guy.
No, Richie Lou don't talk to me, buddy, and I bet you they ain't gonna call me either. So anyway, I get this email from the lady at Richie Lou, and she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. What is this? And I'm thinking it's attached. It's a door order. What do you mean? What was the email about? So I call HGH, and I'm on the phone 20 minutes. And nobody answers. And I hang up and I call Richie Lou. And I was like, I need to talk to, I'm not going to call her name on the podcast. She's with the door department. I don't know what city she's in. So now this lady has to look up and find out what city this girl works in. She goes, oh, I got her right here. Let me call her for you. Sitting on hold again. Oh, yes, sir. They're not answering down there. Can I get you to leave a message? I said, no, ma'am. I will talk to somebody on the phone about this today.
Now,
I don't care who you put me to. I'm talking to somebody.
Because I really need to go to the shop. I need to get this settled so I can go to the shop and do some production.
And these are my words. Ever since y'all bought out HGH, it has been a train wreck. This is unacceptable. It's ridiculous. I spend X amount of dollars worth of doors with you guys every year. This is horrible.
So here's where I'm confused. As I had a conversation with my Richard Lou / HGH rep this week, actually last week, I finally got in touch with somebody about the stupid Hinge program and he didn't know anything. He didn't have any answers.
Oh yeah.
But essentially told me that HGH owns the door company. And that when Richard Lou bought HGH, that the door company was not part of the buy. This is according to this guy now. And that the door company, so if you were a HGH door, or if you were an HGH customer previous to the buyout, you get to stay with the legacy side and you get to stay with this door company. But if you're a newer customer that got brought in the buyout, you have to go to the Richard Lou door company.
No, sir. Dude is.
So you got changed?
This door plant is owned by a guy named Steve or whatever, and it is Sherwood Industries in Arab, Alabama. And I can promise you, HGH does not own them. They build doors for HGH and many other people.
See, that's what he told. But that's what he told me was that Richard Lou thought that they were getting this. Like they were getting this sweetheart deal, and at the very end, they realized that they were not getting the door company. That the door company was still its own standalone deal.
Yeah, yeah. I'm still with the same door company I've always been through HGH.
But through HGH.
Yep.
Man,
So
it's a mess. It
yeah, so
really
yeah,
is.
the door that's a third party. They're their own entity.
Right.
They're out there by themselves.
Okay.
But HGH contracts them to build all their doors. So the door company charges HGH, $10 a door, and HGH charges me $12 a door or whatever.
Right.
That's how that works. But anyway, so they give me to the sales manager at HGH. So I went HGH, no answer. I went to Richie Lou. Richie Lou tried to call the other Richie Lou, no answer. I went back to Richie Lou. Richie Lou now has forwarded me to the sales manager at HGH. So that's where we're at.
Yeah.
And I tell the lady at Richie Lou what's going on. Now I have to tell the guy at HGH what's going on. Because remember, my guy's out of town.
Right.
He's out for a week on some vacation or whatever. And I was like, dude, I don't know what you guys are doing, but she got the email with the door quote, and she acts like she don't know what I'm talking about. The email has no subject matter or whatever. I said, I do not have time for this. This is completely unacceptable. I can't do this.
So you've essentially filled out the door Excel sheet.
Yep.
This is the doors. This is what I need. Boom. Send in that order sheet.
And I email it to HGH.
And she replies because she's answering Alan's emails.
Nope.
It says,
nope. You skipped one.
Sorry.
I sent it to HGH.
uh-huh.
HGH then sends it to Richie Lou.
Okay.
And so when Richie Lou got it, apparently the door order, HGH didn't reattach the door order to the email.
Oh, okay. So she basically got an email without an attachment.
That's right.
Kind of a...
And that really peed me off because I knew we're losing time on these doors. Right. So I'm on the phone with HGH, the guy there, and he's like, I don't know what happened, man. I'll find out, and I will call you back. I said, buddy, I better talk to you today on the telephone. You need to call me back and explain to me what in the world, because keep in mind, I'm not usually that guy.
Right.
But over the last 4 months, it's been headache after headache after headache with these people.
So why didn't Lady A just say, send me the door order sheet? I've got an email here that says I'm supposed to order doors, but I don't have a door order sheet. Just send me your door order sheet.
I don't know what she got in her email.
I mean, wouldn't that have been the answer, right?
Yeah, that would have been.
Am I missing something? Like I've got your email without an attachment. Please send me the attachment.
Yeah, and that's basically what she said. She said, I've got an email. I have no idea what it's even concerning or what it's for. Can you please provide clarification? And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I clarified it to the first guy. And that's a problem when this big company buys a small company, because now we got 12 people on the email. Let's go in here, go in there, and it's all just a big mess. So anyway, I'm talking to the guy at HGH, and I said, y'all got to figure this out. I don't know what happened, but now I'm a day behind on doors. And he's like, I'll call you. Of course, he never calls me back. Right. I get an email later on that afternoon that says, hey, man, we sent it over there without the door list attached to the email. And I said, and that was it. I didn't answer it. Now I got a quote back from Richie Lou. Now, Richie Lou has got the original door order, and she quoted it, and she sends me an email back. She says, please approve this, and we'll get these into production. So I wrote in all caps. I said, approved, period. I said, please get these into production ASAP, period. I have already lost 2 days of production on this door order.
Right.
And you guys are going to have to make that up, because I don't have anything to do with it, So, and that was Friday. I never got a reply back. So now that means that email
order confirmation, basically.
That's right. So that means that email's sitting there Saturday, it's sitting there Sunday. Monday, I'll get an email going, okay, well, we sent it to the door plant. Meanwhile, I know the guy personally that runs the door plant.
Right.
He calls me on Wednesday of last week, and he's like, hey, man, if you get us an order in this week, I'll have it to you the end of next week. And I said, perfect. And now the freaking order's been held up 2 days because there's a bunch of cuckoo birds or something that's, trying to get, and I get it. We all make mistakes. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, guys, it has been a poop shoot ever since y'all bought them out.
I wish you could go direct with them. Like,
I wish I could call the door plant and be like, hey, dude, I'll pay you what I pay HGH
right.
and you can build my doors, you know.
They don't have
But
any sales reps to take your order, basically.
that's right.
Probably.
There's probably got contract. They do about 600 to 700 doors a day.
Oh, I'm sure.
So, you know, they can't just, you know, which I get that. But I'm like, oh, it's so frustrating. It's a door order. It's an Excel sheet. We've all attached things to an email before, you know, but do they care that now I'm 2 days behind on? And I was so proud of myself, man. And that's what bothered me is because I stayed out here. Remember when the builder changed
Yep.
the sink layout? Well, guess what? All those doors sizes changed. I had to redo the door sheet. I was up here till 9 o'clock at night on a work night doing door sheets so I could get them in.
Yeah.
That's how committed I am to getting everything for this job going. And now, boom.
That seems like when it's the most frustrating when you go those extra steps, when when you put more into it, I mean, like, I remember like one job, it was probably like the nicest set of doors that I'd made to that point. Like, it's funny that it's doors. Seems ironic. But it was like they were the tightest, they were the squarest, they were the most paint ready. And then I go to install them, and I had screwed up the measurements. They were completely wrong. I mean, I just flipped them over my shoulder in the damn trash pile because they were no good. I was, but I was like, man, I put so much love and effort into making to move my door game. One more step closer to being ready, and I had it. And I screwed up the daggone measurements. It just seems like. It's sometimes it's just gut wrenching when you put that extra effort into it.
Yeah.
And it flops.
Did I tell you about ordering the spindle and belt for the shaper?
Yes.
Okay. Well, all that came in.
Okay.
And we got that stuff put on, talking about doors.
You told everybody. You didn't tell me. You told everybody.
Yeah. Okay.
All
I can't
15
remember.
people.
That's right. I can't remember what we talk about, what we don't. But anyway,
Right.
I got all that stuff on.
Yeah.
And that thing runs like a brand new. It's super quiet.
Nice.
So I was on the phone with the door guy last week, talking to him about something. I said, "Listen, man," I said, "I ain't trying to scare y'all, but I did buy a new spindle and belt for my shaper." And he just bust out laughing. He's like,
Whatever.
"Yeah. We're
Congrats.
shaking in our boots up here." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Dude, ain't no way. I'm not interested in making my own doors."
Not at your rate. You're at the rate
No.
of doors that you buy. It's ridiculous.
This last one was 70. No, it was 80, 40, and 30.
150
that's 150. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how long it would take to mill the lumber, cut the lumber, do all the grooves,
Yes, I do. Yes, I
glue
do.
it up, nail it, sand it,
Yeah.
and get it ready for paint. No chance.
Yeah.
No chance. I mean, But again, the door, they build them like I would build them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
There's no difference in the quality. They do it exactly how
Are they
I would
maple
do it in my
doors or
shop.
poplar doors?
Maple.
Maple.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed a big difference in my doors since I've switched to soft maple. Just FYI for anybody out there curious. I had some curling problems with poplar doors,
Yeah.
and I've just noticed a big difference with my maple doors.
Maple makes and that's why. I mean, if you want to do a poplar frame, a lot of times we do poplar frames, but we do, overlay. So you don't see a whole lot of the frame. I mean, poplar is plenty fine for framing a cabinet. But when it comes to doors, I think that maple just finishes a little bit better. You got to think there's hardware going in, like hinge, dowels. You want them to hold really good.
Yeah.
So we use a little bit harder wood for the doors. Just because they get all the abuse, Now, if it's a built-in, or something like that, that's, you can get away with whatever.
Yeah.
But full-use kitchens, they're opening and slamming doors every day. I mean, we try
Kids are coming through,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that was, like I said, we leaned out. We're working on leaning out this year. Efficiency this year. The builder's house is going. We've got everything cut for that. So what about you? What'd you do?
Man, it's so funny that you're on because I feel like I'm in a major efficiency downfall right now. Like I was kind of stumbling around the shop today, like just uber frustrated. with some things that I've got going on in my shop. Just the layout's just not quite. It's good, but like I am impeding my own efficiency here lately, and mostly in just failure to put things up, in a
Oh,
timely
okay.
manner. And like my workbench is now becoming like the put it here table, and I don't know why I'm doing that. And it's really ticking me off that I'm doing it to myself. It's doing it to
Yeah.
myself, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm the only one to blame. I mean, I wish there was somebody else in the shop so I could at least say, Steve, why do you keep doing it? But it's me. I mean, it's, you know, I've, it's kind of funny that, hey, Dad, I know you're listening, but I got in trouble a lot for not putting things up. And then my mom said it's funny that after you left home, those same things didn't get put up, all the time, you
Yeah.
know. Um, and I think I've kind of inherited that trait. Like I just don't always. It's just not the top of the list of things to do. Like to put that thing up right now. It's like, well, just set it here, go do this task, and then when you get done with the task, you can come back and put that up, and that just never happens.
Yeah.
So I'm struggling with some efficiencies in the shop. I'm really like I really need to rebuild my center workbench slash assembly table. And I'm just I've talked about it a couple of times that I just kind of started with the table that was there, and I'm really just to the point where I really need to devote some time to building that out and making and changing that out. But I'm just slammed with projects, to be perfectly honest with you. But
Yeah. That's where we're
trailer's
at.
done. Trailer is 100% finally done. All of the E-track is in. All the walls are painted. Floors are painted. It's actually sitting right now, fully loaded on Sunday night, ready for tomorrow's install. Everything's strapped in. Everything's ready to go.
Oh.
So that is a super great feeling. All I have to do is drive to the shop, hook up, and go.
I was thinking you could change your name now with the trailer. You could name your business Bougie Builders.
Ooh, because
Yeah,
my
you gotta.
trailer is a little bougie.
It is bougie.
I have to admit, I rolled up, I rolled up at my partner's shop last week. So they had the baby, by the way,
Oh, good.
since we talked, and they're at home. But he asked me while he was out if I would help his shopmate install some barn doors. I said, yeah, man, that's no problem because I now have the trailer, and they were 8 foot tall, dang near 4 foot wide barn doors. They were heavy, and
Mm.
so I like opened the gate at the shop, and he's like, Derek's gonna be jealous. This is nice. I was like, well, I took a little bit of extra time while I had it to do the floors, to do the walls, just to kind of get it the way I wanted. And but it got all the E-track in. So I don't know if those of you out there with trailers, I don't know if you have E-track. I don't know if you even know what I'm talking about, but it's a rail system that goes in, and it's basically like what you would see like in an 18 wheeler. If you ever looked in the back of an 18 wheeler, it's a rail, and it has a rectangular slots that are just cut and punched out of it, and they make clip in ratchet straps, and there's a bunch of accessories and stuff. But I got all those in. The only thing that is not done is the carpet bumpers. I got the carpet from my buddy when he did an install, but I want to put carpet bumpers in that just stick out just a little bit further than the E-track. So what I did was I took 3/4 plywood, glued that to the wall, and then painted all that.
Hmm.
Sorry, I got tickled there. Painted all that, then put the E-track on. So so the E-track is probably 3/4. It's probably about an inch off the wall. So what I want to do is put some carpet bumpers in. They're a little bit further than an inch, so that when I put like a finished product up there, it's not rubbing on the E-track. It's actually rubbing on those carpet bumpers. Because I don't want to put it face out because I'm clumsy, and if I put it face out as I'm going through there in and out with other stuff loading, I'm just going to damage the face. It's gonna kind of defeat the purpose. But I don't have those. But other than that, it's 100% in. I've got a set of lights in it that I've had. My youngest daughter bought me a set of lights probably 3 years ago. They're truck bed lights for like Father's Day, I think it was. She bought me these lights to go in the inside of my truck bed, and I've just never got to the point to put them in. And I
Yeah.
was like, you know what? those are going to be my interior lights on my trailer. So I've got 3 LED strips across the roof of the trailer that come on. So, that's all done. But it's a good feeling to have it loaded and to know that I don't have to show up at 0 dark 30 to load. And I was able to put things in there kind of slowly and methodically and go, yep, I need this. Yes, I
Mm-hmm.
need this, versus trying to make sure on the morning of the install I've got everything in. So I'm hoping I'll sleep a lot better tonight than I normally do the night before an install,
Yeah.
because there's nothing like, I mean, it's not uncommon for me to wake up the night of an install and be putting notes into my phone going, hey, you forgot this, don't worry about this. So I'm excited about that. And then I've got went and did a consult this week for basically, so it's 2 kids rooms, a fireplace, left and right built in, a pantry shelf built in, and then an office, which is going to include a Murphy door, so a hidden library door. So he's kind of an IT guy. So his home office IT section, you'll open this hidden bookcase door, and in that will be his server and all that stuff. So, but he just wants the wall to look like a continuous door. So
Yeah.
pretty excited to be working on that.
Speaking of that, I had a consult yesterday in the shop, and the husband, they're going to have a walk-in butler's pantry,
Yep.
and he showed me a TikTok video. It's like an 8 foot tall door, 3 foot wide. It looks like it's got 4 cabinet doors on it with hardware, but it all opens as one unit.
Yep.
And I told him, I said, I tell you what, I can build that. I can make it 1.5 inches thick like a regular door, but you're going to have to do the framing, the hinges, and you're going to have to mount it because I have to stay in my lane.
Yeah.
If I sign on to that, I have no idea, is it an 1/8 inch gap, 3/16, what kind of hinges to get. I have no idea.
Yeah.
So I was like, we're going to mount it like a regular door, and then I can build the door. You tell me exactly what size and I'll build it.
Yeah.
So kind of along those same lines, I gotta figure out what to do there. But I told him, I said, I don't get involved in stuff that I know nothing about.
Yeah. Like this is a 10 inch. This will be a 12 inch deep bookcase that will pivot and turn. So, and they make some Murphy hardware. They call them Murphy closets. Is actually what they're, or Murphy doors instead of Murphy beds. And it's just a different pivoting hinge. But there's some thought and some process and some math that goes into making sure that it swings because it's deep. I mean, so that corner has to clear.
Mm-hmm.
But that's pretty much been the week, and then getting these daggum 4 foot letters painted and get them out the door. Which in all fairness, just in case that there's somebody who that's part of the commissioning of these letters that does listen, it's not the letters, it's my procrastination that's made these things just a giant pain in my neck. Because this coming up weekend is Easter, the weekend after that is prom, and some of these letters are for prom. So like it's just my procrastination to get them done, and some of the procrastination is here's the thing. So if you're going to go into business, you need to know what your shop rate is. Okay. You need to know what you make per hour in your shop or what you need to make per hour in your shop. And if you take on a project, I don't know how to put this nicely, that doesn't meet that shop rate because you want to do something nice for the community, you got to keep in the back of your mind that you're doing something nice for the community, and you're going to have to sacrifice somewhere to get that in. And that's kind of been my problem is as I didn't keep it in my mind that I was making a sacrifice for something in the community. I just kind of kept pushing it off because there were projects continually coming in that met the shop rate.
Yep.
But I priced these that at a price to do something good for the community. So that I mean I'm not doing them for free. I mean I'm making a little bit of money, and I'm covering my costs, but I'm not doing it at what my normal shop rate is. So because of that, mentally I kept pushing it. Like I kept pushing it. So either know that or don't take the project on. I mean, just you just stick with this is my shop rate and this is what I got to make. This is what I got to do. because if I don't make it for that, I'm not gonna prioritize it, and I'm probably not gonna do it, which means you're probably gonna miss the deadline, which means you're gonna probably fail the client, and it kind of creates this avalanche of issues, down the line.
Yeah.
So just kind of keep that in mind, that as you're moving through, but
Especially on about letter 3.
yeah,
You're like, oh man.
and I'm gonna tell you something. If you want to do marquee letters, hey, just know your shop rate, because they're a little bit more they're a little bit more time intensive than I thought they were going to be. But got them all got them painted today. Got the first coat of primer on them. Of course, go pull the spray out, which I don't do a whole lot of painting. Go pull the H high pressure low velocity HPLV gun out.
I'm gonna sit here and watch you struggle with it
Right.
the whole time.
I'm gonna drink my coffee here. But did I send you that meme where it says it's like a lady holding a coffee cup? She says if you blow on your coffee during a Zoom meeting, people won't know you're drinking wine.
Yeah. You did send me that.
So I put my whiskey in a coffee cup. But yeah, so they're just time intensive. They're just a little bit more time intensive than I.
So you got to break out your HPLV.
Oh yeah, so I brought out the gun, and he goes. I mean, it looked like a spray paint can that had, I don't know, a busted tip on it. I was like, oh, what is this? And I was like, I don't have time to deal with this. So I go pull out my airless sprayer, like a Graco X5 sprayer. I'm like, you know what? This is not ideal for this, but I can get it done. Pull it out. I can't remember the last time I used it, and it's got the tip on it that attaches to the power roller. I'm like, well, where is the spray tip? There is no telling on God's green earth what the spray tip is. So I had this mental debate of whether I put it off till tomorrow and just go get another tip tomorrow, or do I run to Home Depot, get a tip, come back and spray. I won the moral debate. I actually went, got the tip, come back, got them sprayed, and actually made it home like an hour earlier than I planned on. So I had plenty of time to kind of get ready for the podcast and everything today. But they're all primed, ready to go. But boy, an airless sprayer or spraying, boy, it consumes paint. Man.
Yeah. That's like I told my salesman when they were trying to sell me on a AAA.
Yeah.
And which that's air assisted airless. I know it says airless, but it's air assisted, but just you Google it. You Google because I'm not explaining it. You Google it. But anyway, he was like, man, it's going to save you. The transfer efficiency is almost 100%. You're going to save 25% on material. You're going to save so much material. You can just order less material. No, killer. No, I'm ordering 25% more material.
Yeah.
Because this joker's is laying it down.
Is it?
The problem, I mean, the selling point is, and I called him and told him, I said, don't ever tell anybody you save material. You don't. That's a flat out lie. But I went from an hour and a half a coat to 25 minutes a coat.
Oh.
So I'm saving an hour of shop time per coat, and the job gets 3, 4, 5, 8 coats.
Yeah.
3 on the cabinets, 3 on the front of the doors, 2 on the back of the doors. So that's 8 hours a job I'm saving, but it's costing me $85 more in paint.
Right.
Or $120 more in paint. Dude, I'm going to take the 8 hours.
Yeah.
Every day. I said, don't tell these people you're going to save material, because I'm spraying down 5 wet meals, just like you guys told me to. And the salesman, to be honest with you, most of them never sprayed anything in their life. The company tells them, oh yeah, tell them they're going to save all this money on material. No. You save time. I said, if I would have known 5 years ago that you could have cut my time down to 1/5 of what it takes, I would have bought this 5 years ago. And
Interesting.
so, yeah, y'all need to be telling people that. But anyway, yeah, those airless, man, those things are. If you finish a lot,
yeah,
buddy,
don't buy a Graco. Don't buy a Graco X5 if you're finishing a lot. I can tell you that. But
I don't know anything about those.
I mean, it's for walls. I mean, it's for if you're painting walls, or I mean, it's a paint sprayer. It's not a finisher. I guess is the best way to kind of say that it's the wrong
Yeah.
wrong item for the job. But hey, they got a coat of primer on them. That, that we're not talking about beauty queens here. We're talking about some marquee letters. They're gonna have light bulbs in them. And I'll sand them out and get them all done. But I mean, that's pretty much the week. I mean, and we'll get those. I got that install Monday, and then we'll start kicking on this big job. For the week. It'll be a little bit of a short week because we'll be going out of town for Easter. This coming up week. So
Really, where are you going? Where are you going to be? Where are you
I'm
going?
gonna go down to LA for a little while and hang out. Yeah,
You've been down here by me. What we gonna do, man?
See what's going on. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I invited you. I invited
Do
you
you like
to Easter.
where you at on Mexican food?
I mean, I'm as soon as we finish this podcast, that's where I'm going.
All right. Well, the city you're going to has a brand new Mexican restaurant.
I've heard it's fair. Well, I think my wife ate the other weekend down there when she was down there for her dad's. It was her dad's 70th birthday, and she went down.
I give it 11 out of 10, and I'm just saying I'm a Mexican restaurant aficionado.
All right.
Okay, I'm what you call the old amigo up in there, buddy.
Gotcha.
Now, if you catch them on
you're
Friday
a
or Saturday,
gringo up there is what you are.
well, either way. But a lot of times on Saturday night, they have a live mariachi band.
See, I don't like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, they don't. I mean, they kind
too
of
loud.
walk around.
No, it's too loud.
They ain't loud. They ain't loud.
I don't want
It
to. I don't want to.
I'm gonna make you like it.
Here's what happens 9 out of 10 times you go to one of those places. For one, I don't need music to enhance my food. I just want the food to be good. 2, turn it down because I want to talk while I'm at the table. All right.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be charged a premium for food to pay some guy to play music in the corner. Like, I don't understand that. Like,
Yeah, it's not.
I just don't get it.
It's not a necessity to me. I'd rather.
It's not.
Yeah, because there's a hole in the wall that we go to that a lot of people I don't think know about. It's in a whole nother city.
Yeah.
And, buddy, you're in Mexico when you go in there, man.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's straight up. You looking for a bunch of English stuff on the walls? Nope.
Nope.
Gotcha. But, yeah. So, anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Cool.
All right, punch some stuff out. We're good.
So let's go down the punch list. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about is fuel card, because you were when I mentioned that, you were super perked up by it.
I'm perked.
So this is not a paid advertisement. I did pick this up off of a local radio station. So it's a fuel card called A to B. The reason why I like this fuel card is because I'm a cash guy when it comes to business. I don't like doing credit with the business. I like for everything to be free and clear and move on. So A to B, when you apply, so it's a weekly, it just bills you weekly, right? So you put all your fuel on this card for the week, and then it depends on where you're at. It kind of varies. On Sunday night, I get the statement. You can go online and look at the statement, see what it's going to be, and then on like Monday or Tuesday, they automatically draft that statement out of your account. So it weekly pays off your fuel bill. But what it does is at tax season, my accountant really liked it because I didn't have to keep up with any receipts. At the end of the year, I just had this tax statement for my fuel for my truck. And I actually, with A to B, I could actually divide it out. My wife has a card and I have a card, right? And I pay her fuel card, but it pulls it out separately. So I know what gas was put in her car, and I know what gas was put in the business truck, right? Mm-hmm. So even though the bill is being paid, at one time, from a business perspective, it's being paid for one time for both vehicles. From a business perspective, it's divided out, so we know which one and how much to claim for business use.
Okay.
So that's the first part about that I like, is that it's not a credit card. And it's I think it's 2 cents per gallon that it does discount you when it goes through the billing process. The other cool kind of part about it is have you ever heard of the Upside app?
I've heard of it, yep.
So I use the Upside app. Look, you are not going to change the earth or change your tax bracket by using this app by any means. But what is kind of cool is that you can tie your A to B fuel card to the Upside app, right? So you're getting like 2 cents per gallon discount, right? And then if you're at a gas station, like I'll pull it up when I'm getting gas. I don't specifically search out the gas stations that Upside is doing a discount with, right? I've been using it for almost a year, not quite a year at this point. And right now, like I'm pulling it up right now, I have, if you can see it up there, I have $46.78 in my Upside account. So I can take that in like an Amazon gift card. I can do it in straight cash to my bank account. Um, and all you do is literally when you pull up to the gas station, see if the gas station you're at has a deal running. You claim the deal. You you can choose the card that you're paying with. I have my A to B card in there. You choose that, and then you get the point. You get the money. It's not it's not anything extra. The only thing about the Upside app that'll drive me crazy sometimes is it won't the GPS won't recognize that I'm at the gas station.
Oh, I was going to ask how it knows you're there.
So it does it by your GPS, so it won't recognize that you're at the gas station, and it'll tell you to upload a copy of your receipt.
Okay.
So then you just kind of have to manually go in and take a picture of the receipt, and then it just takes a little bit longer to process to get your money back, but it works.
Do y'all get y'all's gas pumps gives you receipts?
If you say yes.
Oh wow.
Okay.
You know what ours does around here?
What?
Would you like a receipt? Yes.
Eats it.
Please take receipt.
Well,
no receipt.
Well, that is the only frustrating thing is so now with the A to B card, the accountant has said, I don't need your gas receipts. They're all right here. They're all in this gas statement. I don't need your receipts. So I choose no. So I always make sure before I choose no that the Upside app has accepted my location. Does that make sense? Because if I check no and it doesn't accept my location afterwards, then if you really want that little bit of money, you got to go inside and get a receipt printed. So it just kind of doesn't.
Yeah.
But
Remind me to ask you something off podcast about fuel cards and stuff.
okay.
Because it's going to get into some tax things, and I don't want to put that on here because I don't want to mislead anybody.
Okay. Yeah. Well, because there's some different ways to take that tax credit. So that's kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. Like this year, actually, we didn't take the fuel as a tax credit this year. It just didn't work out. We took the mileage.
Okay. So you guys can only choose one?
Yeah, you can only choose one.
Okay, well that was it then.
Yeah.
That was it because we do mileage.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if you guys could claim both away, and I didn't want to.
You can look at it at the end of the year, and
Right,
kind of figure
okay.
out which ones are going to benefit you the best.
Yeah. Okay.
So but we ended up doing the mileage this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Never mind then. We just handled it on air.
There you go. Well, kind of talking about vehicles, so I want to do an upgrade to my truck. And I want to know if I should do it. And I want to know if you would consider it an upgrade or not, I guess. Kind of after our little off there conversation.
Hit me with it. I'm ready. Ready to spend some money.
It's going to be, it seems a little silly.
Some money.
It seems a little silly, but I think I really kind of want to do it. I got two options that I want to do. I want to, the first option is so I have chrome bumpers on the truck. I want to wrap the chrome bumpers in a wood grain vinyl.
Okay.
I just want to wrap them in a vinyl that makes them look like a wooden bumper.
Okay.
I just think why not?
I don't hate it.
So then the second option is to actually go to like a decal, wrap company and actually design a wrap, so to speak, or, set of decals to go on the truck to make it look like a woody version of a Ram 2500. Like the old woody Jeeps. The old woody, those that
wood
like the Jeep Wagoneers, yes, like with the wood panels. Like get one that looks like that, but make a 2500 look like a Woody.
I like it, but I want to look at some pictures and make sure we're thinking the same. Because I'm thinking solid hood, and but there was a section on the fenders that was wood, but not the whole fender.
Yeah.
And like sections on the door, like the middle part of the door. Okay, yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it's a stupid spend of money, and it's completely unnecessary. You know, of course, obviously, it's all going to come down to cost. You know, I mean, I'm not going to put an exorbitant amount of money into this, but I just for part of it just seems like it'd be really cool to show up at a customer's house with this like wood grained, you know, wood grain truck on the exterior.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't
I
know.
need to look at that. I like it. I
Yeah.
like it.
So you
I'm
think I
gonna
should move
upgrade.
forward with the thought process? Like let's
Yes.
like
Oh,
move forward to
absolutely.
some mock-ups maybe.
Let's get a quote and
Okay.
let's go online. Matter of fact, AI can probably do that for you.
Oh yeah, I'll just get on Chat GTP PPI,
Oh
whatever that's
boy.
called, and I'll get on it.
And the thing is, you have a military background, and y'all said nothing in the military unless it was an acronym.
Right.
And
Well,
here
it's
it
just
is
because I can't
now,
remember it.
and you can't.
I don't remember what it is.
You have these letters all jumbled up.
It's all the things I've blown up in my life that it's rattled my brain. I can't remember what the heck it is.
I'm upgrading my truck. I didn't want to brag about it, you know,
Ooh.
but since you brought it up, I
Yep.
am getting a pen holder to go on my visor. There
Oh,
it is.
nice.
There it is. I said it. I
Getting
said
a
it.
Duluth pen holder.
No, but I rode with Trey the other day, and he had one on his visor, and it had a pen and a pencil and a marker and something else, and I was like, yeah, I need one of these.
So you're getting a pocket protector for your truck.
That's it. I think it's gonna. I think it may add a couple of horsepower.
How many miles per gallon?
At least one. At least one.
It's something in a diesel. That is something
I'll
in a
take
diesel.
it.
Yes.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Free.
The other upgrade is my front right tire is getting balder and balder as we speak. So yeah, it was the first to what is that called? It's called. They have a word for it, but it's where
Out of alignment. Is that what they call it?
nope. Every other, like, I've got mud grips on it, and or mud terrains now. They're Toyo Open Country MTs. Good, great tire. But it's called off lugging or offset lugging or something, where every other lug starts to wear.
Oh.
And it's a phenomenon that happens on some tires, or it doesn't matter where it is on the truck. You may not ever have it, but it's usually one tire will start this really weird wear pattern, and it shakes at 70. There's no way to balance it. And then after that, that tire just goes to, like, I've got 20% tread on the rest of the tires, but this one did that weird lug thing where every other grip, as you go around the tire, started to wear unevenly. And I think it takes a little bit, and then every time that tire goes around, it just boom, boom, it bounces, and
Yeah.
then it hits every other lug. And so, but I'm not going with any more mud terrain tires. I'm gonna go all terrain. So you and I have to talk about a tire and pick one out for my truck.
All right. So yeah, so we'll go through the tire debate and kind of figure that out too, because you can go on Facebook and you can type in tire debates, and boy, is it full
yeah.
of them. Go on the Ram. Are you in the Ram group on Facebook?
I'm in a couple of them, but I probably unfollowed them a while
God.
back.
Well, yeah. Well, you're not allowed in fifth gen Rams because you don't have a fifth gen. So because diesel didn't make fifth gen, it's still a fourth gen, no matter what the year model is. Apparently.
Oh, really?
Well, so is the 2500. There's the 2500 is technically still a fourth gen, even though it's in the same year model as the fifth gen. It's this big thing. But you know what? So that's a pretty kind of a good segue. So speaking of Facebook, I put a picture and a comment in our notes, and I just said interesting, and I put a picture. So the picture, for those of you who can't see it, and that's basically anybody that's not Mitch, it's a bucket of screws. That's really all that it is. It's some trim head screws, and this guy basically, he says, avoid these at Home Depot and Lowe's. Head strip before full torque is applied. And so what I found interesting about this is the things that get blessed on social media and the things that get just absolutely massacred and destroyed.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. There's no rhyme or reason to it. So I've used these same screws. Like I have them in my screw box. Like they're there. They are they're a good brand. They're the Power Pro premium trim head screws. They're number eights, and they're 2.5 inches long. They're a number 10 Torx bit, I believe. And he just didn't like them. He said they strip. So there and he just got destroyed. With opinions. There were some things like, well, you're not pre-drilling. Well, you shouldn't be using Torx, which means you shouldn't be using an impact driver. You should be driving them with a drill. That's why they're stripping. And then there's, well, I've drove 1 million of these and I've never had one strip. It's, well, the screw's fine. The bit that comes with them is cheap. But it was just this kind of instant, just dive bombing, like on this guy, of how he was basically stupid for having this opinion that these screws didn't work, and that there were a whole bunch of reasons behind why it didn't work. But somebody can post, like this guy posted in the cabinet page or the small woodworking group page a couple of days ago. I'm sure you probably saw it. He was making a Febreze / air freshener holder. Did you see that?
Nope.
He was making a holder that would go beside the toilet, and it would hold 2 aerosol cans. And bless his heart, and I'm not beating him up for his craftsmanship. I'm beating him up for posting it, because anybody could look at this thing and realize that it looked like hammered dog poo poo. But yet he was like, "Hey, check it out." And every time he did something to it, right, it just got worse. Like it looked like he tried to paint it with a spray paint can about 3 inches away from it. Just had paint just all gobbed on it. Just,
wow.
He's like, I don't understand why it looks bad. And I'm like, well, probably because it started bad, but nobody decided to coach this guy or kind of like criticize him. It was, oh, buddy, it's okay. Just keep working at it. Just trying to keep better, which I'm not against that. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not against the encouragement and but it was just such a stark contrast with this one guy posted these screws, which had really nothing to do with him, right? It was just his opinion that he didn't like these screws and didn't think they held up well, where this guy built an item and it had everything to do with him. And it was not, hey, your product was crap from the start, because nothing, and you just have to see this thing. Nothing was aligned. Nothing was set together. Like it was just terrible. It would have looked like something if you would have told your youngest son to go out there and, hey, buddy, build us something to hold the fart spray in the bathroom. Just build that and we'll see what it comes out with. That's about what you would expect a 10-year-old to put together.
Oh yeah.
And look, that again, our thing is about going out there and getting started, right? We're about, trying and building. Because I'll give you a perfect example. My wife, I need to send you a picture of these. So she was in Greenville, down in South Alabama a few weeks ago. And, I built that vanity for my mother-in-law like 2 years ago. Well, it still doesn't have doors and drawer fronts on it because I just haven't been back to finish it. I said, well, I'll tell you what, bring the doors and the drawer fronts back here. I'll finish them, spray them, and then I'll take them back down there next time. Mm-hmm. She opened the back of the car and I said, what are these? She goes, these are the doors. I said, who made these things? These are god awful. Like, I'm not using them. I'm burning them. Like, they are the most god awful things. I am completely embarrassed that I made them. But but 3-4 years ago, it was my first set of doors and drawers I'd really made, man, I thought they looked pretty daggone good. Now I knew they had some voids in them and they got some putty and they've got some filler in them, but I was like, man, these are pretty daggone good. They're awful. I wouldn't put them in a kid's dollhouse. Like they're just they're just firewood.
Yeah. I wonder, about the Facebook things. I would be interested, and maybe not just on these, but I would be interested to look at kind of the comments where, more people are positive and the comments where more people are negative, and see who wrote the first positive or negative comment. Because if somebody was on there and they made this Glade holder and they posted a picture of it, well, somebody who's more positive might have got down in the comments and they could have been like, hey man, looks pretty good, looks like you did a good job, hang in there, keep knocking them out, you'll get it, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then so now if you're the dude that wants to be a realist about it, how are you going to look? If you go down there and be like, man, it looks like a turd, dude. What in the world are you doing? That's stupid. That looks bad. You're probably going to be like, man, this dude just said something good about it. If I show up, I may look like a butthole or something. But then on the other hand, like, and I think a lot of people may be more willing to poo-poo on a brand than somebody's work, maybe.
Right.
But I feel like on the screw, on the one that showed the trim head screws, I feel like the first comment could have been, oh yeah, those are garbage. They're or you use this wrong, you use that wrong, and then somebody else got on there and read that comment and he jumped on and he was like, oh yeah, man, yeah, oh, that's what it is. You didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I agree.
It might, and I'm not saying it does. I have no idea, but it may have something to do with whatever the first comment was.
Check your phone. So,
What?
okay. So I just sent you pictures.
What
of
in
it.
the world did you?
Okay. So I'm going to try to share these with the YouTube group. So here's the first one. All right. So you can kind of see, like, I mean, it's the waviest. I don't know.
That's pretty bad.
So here's one. So this is pre-paint. So you can kind of tell. I know my light, my camera light is just killing it. And then it just gets worse, as the process goes.
The more you look at it, the worse it gets.
Yeah, it really does. I mean,
so we're talking store-bought 2x material with rounded corners.
I guess.
Yep. And then he's putting
giant
in the rounded corners.
Pocket holes underneath the bottom of it. Like, why he decided to do 2 pocket holes there when there's no pocket holes on anything else. I don't know why he didn't just brad nail them suckers too. But so, but again, I'm not poo-pooing the guy's project. This is not about the project's bad. Don't get me wrong. The project's rough. It's more the social media. Like, it's just kind of crazy.
It's almost, can I just be honest? Can I be honest right now? With no judgment. It's almost like he's posting this as a gag. Like, that's how bad it is.
You would almost hope so. You really would.
Like, you're thinking, when I first saw this, I was like, oh, dude, this is some dude just trying to, he's trying to get something going. But okay, you need to text me. Am I in this group?
Small woodworking shops.
No, I'm not in there. Okay.
One comment. Do you have a fireplace? Question mark. That's just advice.
I don't know why that would.
Yeah. Yep. Try finishing it before installing it. Yep. After seeing all the posts going off your words, throw that poop away and start over. The work table in the garage is nice, though. So there have been. I mean, it has 261 comments, and it was posted 4 days ago. So, Beavis going fire is a comment. So I guess maybe my first inclination is wrong. That it wasn't. I guess it wasn't as praised as it originally. After some time, it wasn't praised as much as I thought it was. But just in the social media world, and I'm not a commenter. I guess I'm more of a, I guess I'm more of a weird stalker in these groups. Encourage people, like give some, and the reason, I guess the reason I don't say anything is because I can't think of a way to constructively criticize them. Like
Right. Yep. Yep.
my dark humor just comes out badly, and that's so I just don't say anything because I would be the guy saying burn it.
Yeah.
Did it was this a project that your son made with you, and you just want to display it, like,
Yeah. Are you blind? Like,
yeah.
stuff like that.
I mean,
And that,
Ray
yeah.
Charles could have aligned those corners better. I mean,
Yeah.
I just want, but, and that's what social media is, just such a dark, deep place that, but I think you should encourage people. Like, I want to encourage this guy to, like, step forward, especially when I look at, I mean, if I took that set of doors that's in my garage right now and set them against the set of doors that I'm going to install tomorrow, I mean, you would just think that two different people made them, and two different people did. A person with zero experience and time on the job made one set of doors. Another person with, 200 plus doors under his belt, in 3 years of building, made the other set of doors.
Right. Yeah.
They both happen to have the same name, but they're two different people. They really are. And it's just, it's just such a world of negativity. And I don't want to get into current events too much, but we just, in Nashville, I'm just right outside of Nashville. The nation probably remembers we had a very tragic event happen right at the end of March where, 6 people lost their lives. And, I'm not going to go through the politics of that and all, but the day after, that was on a Monday. I want to say it was Tuesday or Wednesday. I actually inadvertently, I didn't know where the school was. I really didn't. I knew kind of about where it was. I actually accidentally went by the school on my way home from an install. And wow, what a weird place. It was such a heavy feeling. I mean, there was a cop blocking the actual entrance to the school. And it's a 2-lane road, and it's got a turn lane in the middle, right at the entrance. And there were a few people parked in the turn lane and going and putting like flowers and, stuffed animals at the entrance to the church/school. And it was just such a heavy feeling right there that at that moment, I kind of went to the social media world. I was like, man, there are just so many social media feelings about this event right here, that whether they point left, whether they point right, whether they point up, whether they point down, whatever your thoughts or your feelings are on it. And like, again, I don't want to go into that side of it, but I just want to go into the way that you engage on social media, is just, I'm just to the point where it's just like, if I can't promote some kind of positivity, I'm just not going to say anything at all, because it's
dinner bell.
It's so negative, as it is, it's just, the interwebs are already such a dark environment. Which it seems so weird because, we talked about earlier, nobody posts the bad stuff on their Facebook or their Instagram page, but
Not
yet
if they're going.
not
Not
of
if they're
their
causing
stuff, but boy, will I make your page as dark and as deep as I possibly can.
Yeah.
I'm okay with just bashing your world. So just when you see these just think back to your beginning project, your first, whatever it was in woodworking, if you've been doing this, or whatever your trade is. Maybe you're not a woodworker, maybe you just like listening to us or whatnot. Maybe you're a puzzle assembler. You like doing puzzles.
A lot of them out there.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say you like doing puzzles, and you want to look at it and you go, well, look how it took this person 2 weeks to do 1,000. I got to stop that. It took this person 2 weeks to do 1,000-piece puzzle. I can do that in 3 days. I bet you didn't do it in 3 days when you first started. Like, whatever it is, you didn't start off being an expert at it. It took you some time to develop your craft and to develop your skill. And just remember that, But I don't think there's a problem with telling somebody like, hey, this is, like there was one guy on one page a few months back. He posted some item and he's like, I'm trying to sell this for $75 and I'm just not getting any takers on it. Does anybody know what do you guys think I should be charging for it? And I finally had to just say, buddy, it's just really not that great of an item. I would chalk this up to learning experience. Try to look at it in the corner, try to remake it and make it better, and see if you can get that
Yep.
money out of the second one, because you're probably not going to get it out of this one. Like
Right.
it, I sat on it for a while. I mean, I really did,
But
because
excuse me,
I'm not an encourager. I'm really not.
yeah.
At the core of me, the core of me wants to take some dark, former military, former cop humor and just
Yeah.
go
Well,
at it.
Here's the thing is he's like, I recognize nobody wants this, right? Like it's not selling. I haven't sold it. I'm asking this much. I recognize nobody wants it. Hey, Facebook, I'm opening myself up to your opinions. I'm asking your opinion,
Yeah.
right? Why not?
Right.
And then you can, and just like you said, well, let's listen. It's rusty. You need to do something else with it. You need to do this, do that. But that is engaging, even though you have a critical comment. It's a positive. It feels like a positive comment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you're trying to help them.
Well, people
But
get
the
on there all
people
the
that-
time and they're like, what should I charge for this? And
Oh, Lord.
and in my mind, I'm just like, just set a price. Set a price and start moving down until somebody buys it. That will tell you what you should charge for it.
You should
You know?
charge the highest amount somebody is willing to pay for that
Yes.
item. That's
Yes.
what you charge. Period.
Take your $50 item, post it for $1,000.
Yeah.
After a week, nobody takes it for $1,000, post it for $900. And just continually move down until you find the market for your item. Like,
And people are not going to be like,
don't
what do you
get it.
want for this? Yeah, it's like people think, what should I charge for this vanity? Oh, well, you should charge $6,000 for a 2-foot vanity. Okay. Well, hey, customer, listen, I asked the cabinet page and they said I should charge you $6,000. Oh, well, shoot, in that case, I'll give you $6,000 for it then.
Yes.
No, that's not how it works. They're going to kick you out of their house. They're going to cuss you out. They're going to slash your tires and they're going to call you a lot of names. And they're going to be like, we're not paying that. That's ridiculous,
well, if you're going to build uncommissioned items, right? You're going to build items. That means you're going to build an item before you have a buyer. Then you need to build it for as little as you possibly can, so that you can incrementally lose money on your asking price and still make money.
Yep.
And then that will identify to you, okay, so if I make this and it costs me $50, I'm able to sell it for $100. Okay. I have 100% profit in this product, in this item. Okay. That's a good product. Keep selling that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But if you spend $50 on it, you sell it for $100, or you're not able to sell it for $100. You're only able to sell it for $75. Okay. All right. So what about this product is not selling for what I want it to sell for? And how do I make it better? Or
raise the value to $100.
Or what do I do to make it cheaper so that
Or
I
make
get
it
the
cheaper,
same
yep.
percentage?
Yep.
So I was making it for $50. Well, if I do this and this and this, I can now sell it for I can now build it for $25, but I'm selling it for $50.
And you there may be something you have to batch out too. You may have to build more than one.
Yes.
You may have to build 50 of them.
Yes.
To sell it for cheaper because your time is down. But yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I see guys all the time. So a common item around Halloween time, right, on some of the small woodworking pages are like these like jack-o'-lantern like boxes, okay, that kind of mimic the bags. Like back in the day, like in my day, I remember as a kid, like we would put bags around the driveway because we lived in town. So you put bags around the driveway with sand in them, and then you put a little candle in them, and you would light the candle like on Halloween. Well, kind of like the spinoff of that is these wooden boxes that have like wooden jack-o'-lantern faces cut out of them. That have, so you would have to make a boatload of those, right? Cut, and you would do this assembly process to be able to batch out a bunch of them to sell them at a price because you're not going to get much for them. So you've got to get this high production item, these high quantities that you can do fast and then get, more money per piece. Right. You got to batch those out.
Yeah. And you may say, well, it takes me 10 minutes to spray one, or I could tie a piece of wire to it and go bloop and dip it in the paint and put it on a dry rack and go.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's on. Hey, guys and gals, listen to me. Listen. It's only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. I don't care what you think it's worth. I don't care what you get for it in your huge city that you live in, or your high class area that you live in that's got, everybody there is doctors, lawyers, rich people, or whatever. And, you got this other dude that lives out in the middle of nowhere who doesn't even have neighbors and stuff. I mean, there's way too much to consider. But at the end of the day, no matter what you're selling, where you live, or your tax bracket that you live in, so to say,
right,
it's only worth what somebody's willing to pay you for it. That is it. I could care less what you think you should get for it. Okay,
but that doesn't mean roll up at a really nice house and go, "Yep, payday." Like
exactly.
Like no.
It doesn't matter that.
Don't misinterpret what we're saying. Like that doesn't mean that you just roll up and go, "You know what? This guy's got money. I'm upping my rate." No. Like, understand your rate that you need to make.
Mm-hmm.
And then if something falls below that rate that you need to make, it's not good business for you. It's good business. It's good business for somebody else. I think you told me one time, and I'll never forget it, that you could have somebody come up and open a cabinet shop up right next door to you, and it wouldn't bother you at all. Because there's enough business, and because here's why you can't be threatened by that. You have your business line that you've worked on, you have established, and you have your group that you work with, right? And this guy could come along, and he could build the same cabinets, and let's say he's $10 a foot cheaper than you are, right? Because a lot of times in the cabinet world, we price things by linear foot. So let's just say this guy's $10 a linear foot cheaper than you are, which is a pretty, am I fair or not? That's a pretty significant difference.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because the last house was, it's 250 feet of cabinets. It's $2,500.
Right. So let's just say he's $10 cheaper. What he's not established. He's not, right. He doesn't have the reputation. He doesn't have the name. He doesn't have all the things that you have, right? And if he does, right, then you're going product versus product. And if the market gets that competitive, then guess what you probably need to do? You probably have to adjust 10 foot, a linear foot down to be able to compete with him. But if your business is that much better, it's kind of the Target versus Walmart kind of mentality, right? I don't price compare. I'm not a price comparer at things, but without a doubt, I pay more at Target than I do at Walmart. But Target's cleaner. It's a better environment. Okay, I'll give you a perfect example for our area. For my area, Publix versus Kroger.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know without a doubt I pay more at Publix. Okay. But I also know that when I go into Publix, that it's going to be clean. Everybody in Publix is going to be in a matching uniform. I'm going to get offered to carry my groceries out every time. I know my buggy is not going to scream, screech, and turn sideways because Publix has a buggy
wobbly
program.
Wheel.
They actually have a program where they come in and service the buggies if you're not in the South, a buggy is a shopping cart. But if they actually come in and service the buggies every so often to make sure that they're good quality and they roll right like they're supposed to. And I have to decide, are those things worth me paying a little bit more for my groceries? And if they're not, I go to Kroger, where I do save a little bit more, but I don't get all the things that I get. I get my black-eyed peas, my canned black-eyed peas thrown in a bag with my bread when I go to Kroger. When I go to Publix, I get a gallon of milk and they say, "Do you want this in a bag?" And I say, "No, just keep it in the container. That's fine." No, but
Yeah.
no, I'm like, no, put the container in a bag. They ask. It's just a different, it's you can get chicken at Chick-fil-A or you can get chicken at churches, right? It ain't the
Oh
same.
yeah, Lord.
It's not the
Yeah,
same.
and if it's
So I can't say that I'm not going to say that my cabinets are the same as yours. But I need to make sure if I'm charging the premium price, I got the premium product.
right, exactly.
Does that
Yep,
make sense?
yep. And at $10 a foot less, if you're sitting there and you go to him, to the other guy or whatever, you kind of have to start. Okay, so I've got basically 5 years with these builders
Right.
of experience with them. We know each other. They know exactly what they're getting. And I wouldn't blame them, or whatever, if they want to go, if something happens or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, now you have to start looking at, okay, is it apples to apples? And does he answer his phone?
Right.
Does he answer on weekends? Does he answer Sunday night? Does he call me back? Am I going to have to hunt him down when I need something? When
Is he going to
going to
come
want
back
his
for a
money?
follow up?
That's right. Is he going to, if I call him a week after he gets done and gets paid, is he going to come back? There's all kind of things to consider. And if you hire somebody, I freaking love, like, I will go out of my way to spend money with somebody local who is doing a side hustle or trying to get something going. I've got a lumber rack. It works,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it's a little janky, but it works. I don't have to go in there and spend the money. But I walked by it the other day and I said, I'm calling Corey. And I'm going to see if he'll build me a lumber rack. Because guess what, dude?
Is this the same guy that's burning stuff in the backyard causing your
Yeah,
lungs to
it's
collapse?
making me sick back there in the back. Yeah, he's all burning stuff.
Corey, you're on fire this episode. I hope we get an email.
Yeah,
Offcuts at styleboys.com. Tell us
Look like
thanks
might
for
be
all the
losing.
shout outs.
Yeah. Of course, nobody knows who he is. But anyway, we're still shouting you out. It still counts. But I was like, I walked by and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see if he's interested in building me a lumber rack, because I knew it's not going to be thousands of dollars, right? It's something simple. It's something he can do real quick, knock out, be done with, and I can say, hey, yeah, this dude that lives right back here welded that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a big upfront cost, but yeah, I'm really quick to do that. I would. There's the fire chief around here. His son called me and said, "Hey, I'm working on small motors. You know what I'm saying? I'm off days." I was like, "Great, come get my lawnmower tomorrow.
Yeah.
Come get it, fix it. Whatever's wrong with it, fix it. Go, do it." And it's something that's part of who I am as a person. I want that. I would rather you or him fix it than take it to some big business and drop it off for a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm hashtag small business and hashtag legal labor.
Yeah, legal labor.
Like,
What were you laughing at?
so when I said the email address, I was like, I haven't looked in a couple of days. Like, I need to double check, like, that nothing's come in since your mom emailed me.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, Mom. You made it, by the way. You made it an hour and 50 minutes, Mom, without having to watch me spit in a bottle. Now you're about to watch it.
Look, I didn't say what she emailed me about, but she did. I mean, literally, your mom is the last email that I received. But Trey emailed in, and
Ain't no telling what he said.
subject line Chupa. The message Cabre. He got me. I mean, that's pretty good.
That is what it's like working with him all day.
Yeah. So
Just constant.
the last episode that aired, the magic word or the code word was Chupacabra, and he decided to make one word the subject line and the other word, part of the word, the actual message, which boy, this session has just segued perfectly. That's like my last point that I wanted to talk to you about. I mean, and look, it's right here. I'm not making this up. Point of business.
Yes, because I see on here I can't tell. I'm not going to read it out loud because it might be a typo.
It is a typo because I was driving while I
Okay. See, I'll be looking out for you, man.
voice messaged that.
Yeah, I'll be looking out for you. See,
Yeah.
I try not to throw
What
you
did I,
under
what
the
did I
bus.
put? I think I put bossiness. Point of bossiness.
Major point of bossiness podcast business. And I'm like, he is messing with me because ain't no way I'm going to figure out what that is.
So we had an episode that released without, and I feel like last episode we kind of talked about this, but I feel like we need to make a decision and we need to stick to it. Like it either needs to be our thing or it just needs to fade away. So for the first several episodes, before we had a way of anybody like messaging us or contacting us, we had the secret word at the end of the message for friends and family who knew how to reach us to kind of say, hey, we're listening, we're following, we're paying attention. Like, we made it to the end. And then kind of like we had an episode that we missed it. Then we had an episode where we did it again. And I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know where we're at, to be honest. If we continued it. So the girls are on episode 7. So I don't know if we did it on episode 7 or not. I'll find out tonight when I finish editing it. And so I don't know if we continued it completely or not, but I feel like we need to decide, is this our thing? Are we going to give a code word at the end or we're not? Like,
okay, so it started out because we wanted to know if people were listening to it.
Right.
All right. Well, now we have kind of some data that we can tell if people are download. Which, by the way, I believe, what's the last number we hit on total downloads?
I'll look real quick while you're.
Anyway, I want to keep it, but I might change the definition of it. So instead of being, because think about this, dude. After 350 episodes, you don't want to get, 15 text messages with a weird word. You know what I'm saying? Because now you're jamming up your messages. So we're going to come up with a word for every episode.
You want to do one word? Oh, I almost flipped my computer over. You want to do one word that just repeats?
No.
Oh.
One word, a different word per episode.
Oh.
But I want it to have, I want you to have a specific reason why you text us that word, not just that you heard about it.
We're at 203 downloads.
Yeah, I thought it was 200. I got an email saying that
yeah, I completely missed that one.
And they're not all us either.
No. I only listened to it once. I listened to it one time. Now I do listen to it on a different platform every time, but I only listen to it one time because that's all I can take of ourselves. But I did text you last time. I was like, is it conceited that I actually laughed and enjoyed listening to us talk?
Yeah, I don't think it is.
Or is that a little bit of a sign that I actually think it's good. Like I actually enjoy it.
Yeah, I think it's a good sign. We're like I told you last time, we're some of our worst critics.
Yeah, I mean, so happy anniversary, baby.
Yeah.
No, what would be the last one that released? Mistakes, we've made a few?
Nope. Something about my mama.
Oh,
Email.
yeah.
We've got mail.
Oh, yeah, we've got mail. 41 downloads.
Yeah.
So that's our third highest. Happy anniversary, baby, actually is the number one.
How many?
49.
Okay.
49 single downloads.
That's 50 folks, man, listening to an episode. That's crazy.
That's way more than I ever guessed would care to listen to us talk. And
that's on the podcast. So listen, I do need to give a shout out to these people that are doing that under the radar. Yeah. Once again, Corey, your name came up. We're Corey heavy on this one,
right?
But anyway, he just sent me a random text. Say, hey man, I've been listening to everyone. He's not going to do a stupid code word. He ain't got time for that. So,
he's too busy. He's too busy to play our code word game.
Yeah, he's too busy. He's too grown up. One of them.
What is he? Well, look, if you're grown up, we ain't got time. We ain't got time for you, Corey. If you're grown up, let me tell you something.
We don't need your stupid little code word.
Yeah,
how about that?
This ain't no grown up podcast. I can assure you of that. Because if it was, we
got my office all smoked up over here. What are you burning anyway?
Right.
You live out here. See, that's one thing you ain't got to worry about in HOA, man. HAO, AOH.
Hey, is
I'm
it
gonna do like
Corey?
you
Is
did.
it EY or just Y?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I think why. I can look. I think I can look. Yeah, I can look.
They doesn't matter. I got the
I can
title.
look.
I got the title for this episode already.
Oh boy, I should tell him too.
I got the title written down.
So
That's
here's
part of
what
the process. I got to write the title down during the episode because
Yeah, here's what you guys need to do. The word for this episode needs to be like I'm just gonna make it simple for this one, okay? Because we're kind of shifting gears. I'm just gonna make it share.
share.
Right? The word is share.
Yeah, because you should
SHARE.
like, comment, and share on every platform of this podcast.
And if you share it,
Ooh.
I don't care if you private text it to somebody. It doesn't have to be public. I don't have to see it. But if you share this podcast at all in any way, shape, or form, shoot us an email or a text that just says share.
Yeah, and Mitch is giving away $100 to one person who decides to share.
Yeah. So I'm going to share it.
To
and
be
then I'm
selected.
gonna win, and then I'm going to win $100.
To be selected randomly.
Yeah, randomly. Here, let me look on my wheel over here. Oh, look, it landed on me.
If you're on an audio version only, that was air quotes for random.
But yeah, text share if you do it.
Or email us.
or
Offcuts
email us.
at styleboys.com.
Styleboys.com.
Yep.
Yeah, and I caught you.
Offcuts at
I caught you
styleboys.com.
in the last episode. I caught you. I got to point at this. I caught you.
What'd I
'cause
do?
You said the Style Boys.
Did I?
Yeah,
It's,
you said it. I heard it, and I was like, "Oh, I got him."
I'm tempted to go buy that domain again as well, and I'll pay for a second email address just so that we can have both. Just because I keep saying that.
We need to talk about that too when we're done because I want to do that for my work email.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, but anyway,
Cat Scratch
yeah,
Cabinets.
share.
I bet you ain't nobody got catscratch.com.
Nope. So look, just share it. You don't have to do it every episode. We understand everybody's busy, all right? But if you think about it, it could be a Friday night. You're sitting around with your boys. You know you're scrolling Facebook and TikTok and chit chat and snap this and chat that and everything else. So just go on there and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just post a link to Grandma. You know what I'm saying?
Or thumbs
to
up
your
it,
kids.
like it, whatever platform you're on. If you tell that platform that you like it, it helps the algorithm, and it does help to move us and show up more, like in different things. So
full disclosure, that's why we want you to do it.
Yeah.
Once we have a following, right? Once you can actually search off the rails because there's a lot of them. Once you can search it and we're there, we'll stop bugging you so much about it. All right, so just get us out there.
I'm not.
Get it
I'm
out
looking for a
because-
retirement plan. I want.
Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, Travis tricked me on April Fool's Day, and I should have known better, but I let my guard down. It was at the end of the day. I let my guard down. And was it a Facebook reel or whatever it was?
It was just a story.
Yeah. And he's like, we picked up a sponsorship. And then it was sat there, and I was like, why haven't I heard about this? What am I? And he was like, oh, April Fools. And I was like, how in the world are you going to trick me with it, of all people?
I got a couple of comments. Like, I got a couple of text messages for people that I got them. Like,
Yeah.
my mom, hey mom, she was super sad for us. Like, she thought that we had done something. She's like, oh, I thought you guys had something. I was like, nah, ain't nobody's listening to this.
Yeah. We should make up a tool brand and be like, we're sponsored by Kohino Electronics.
Oh,
And then just let people,
hack and scratch.
yeah, just let people try to Google it and buy it.
Oh,
But anyway, yeah, we got one more thing to talk about, buddy.
we're 2 hours in.
It's
Do we have time?
It's time. It's
Okay.
time.
Well, hey, put your seatbelts on, strap in. We're
Here we
going
go.
into overtime.
We're
Because
going
I'm
in.
ready. I said at the beginning, I told him off air that I was ready to have this conversation. And apparently, by God, he's going to make sure we have this conversation this time.
Do you have your defense argument
Hold on.
ready?
Hold on. I got to switch buttons here.
Oh, yeah.
And so where did my mouse go? And the topic is...
So why don't you tell us how often you change the old saw blade there, Travis?
About once every 7 months.
Okay, that's not gonna. No, that is not gonna. 7 months.
I don't know. Like I'm close. Like I noticed some tear out yesterday, so I was like, "Ooh,
I
it might be.
noticed. Listen, repeat after me.
It might be necessary."
Saw blades are
Saw blades are
consumable.
very expensive.
All right, listen. Here's the deal. So here's what I do.
Okay. Well, here's my
because-
question. Let me ask you my question first.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Rip cut, cross cut.
Two different things.
Yes. Does a combination blade truly cover both of those things?
No. No, it does not. No, a combination blade. Okay, look at it like this. You can use a combination blade to rip pine or rip maple or rip alder or rip cypress. That's what a combination blade. You can combine the different wood lumber species that you are ripping. That's what it means.
It does.
That's
It doesn't.
nope.
It does.
Nope. Nope. It doesn't mean whatever you're cutting that day, you can use this ultimate all-in-one, buy once, cry once, table saw blade that'll handle anything you need to cut. No, that is not what happens.
Okay.
Okay, if you go to a welder and you ask him, hey, is a 1021 rod, is that good for everything? I mean, it welds. And you know what he's going to say?
I'm
No.
gonna need a little bit more generic explanation, and I mean,
Okay, so here's.
are you saying like I can't, like, so if I take an all terrain tire, like that's probably really not good for the racetrack and the mud pit, but
Right.
it says all terrain.
Right.
Those
That's
are
right.
all
That's
the
right.
terrains.
Yep, it is 95% road, but if you do get into a little bit of sand one time, it'll kind of help you out a little bit. That's what that means.
Oh. So combination. So combination is not. So you're saying combination is not cross cut and rip cut?
No, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
It is not. It is not.
I mean, hold on. Taking notes.
They're going to promote that product as a do all end all. Why? So you will read do all end all on it, and you will say, I don't have to change my blades as often, and you won't. You'll buy that blade and you'll leave it on there. Now your other problem that we haven't even talked about, this whole 7-month thing. No, that's got to change. That has got to change. I get this last job was 75 sheets of plywood. And
That might not be. That might not be accurate. 7. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like
Right.
I really don't.
Right. So what I do, here's what I do. Okay.
When I start getting tear out, that's when I start changing the blade.
If you cross cut a piece of 1/2-inch birch with a combination blade that is about 8 minutes old, you're probably going to start getting a little bit of tear out. So when you say tear out,
So I don't. Though.
do you mean chunks or do you mean tear out?
I mean, just any chipping. Now I run.
Okay.
Now I do run zero clearance inserts.
That helps.
So that I know that helps a lot. Like, I mean, it really does. But
Until, and here's where that's going to come back to bite you. When you develop pitch on your teeth, your saw curve is now wider. I'm assuming you run thin curve.
I do. Now I do clean my blades on a pretty I do take it off and I do
Okay.
clean it. I do
So that'll
do
buy
that.
you a little bit. Okay, I'll give you a brownie point for that because that will buy you
One
time.
gold star.
That'll buy you a little bit of time.
All right.
However, the geometry of the tooth is going to change a little bit.
Yeah.
You're going to chip one, and you're going to change. So we run ATB blades, and that means alternating top bevel. Google that. I'm not going to explain it, but
Well, this
That's
is a woodworking podcast. I feel like we need to I mean, we
Okay.
can talk about it later, but
Yeah, well, yeah, I'll hit it. I'll hit it. Alternating top bevel means that every every other tooth is shearing the fibers at an opposing angle. So one tooth is angled downhill to the left, one tooth is angled downhill to the right.
so if you
And
magnify your cut, you've got it. Like if you were to run like that blade as a dado, you would actually have a V,
you would have a
a little
yeah,
V, a little
yep,
V
it would be
showing.
a V. That's right. That's right.
See, I run flat tooths. So if like you
Yeah.
microscoped my bevel, it would be flat.
Yeah. That's a good name for the podcast. Microscope my bevel. Anyway,
Cheers.
so yeah.
Here's to my coffee cup.
So what fundamentally what you're doing is you're trying to cheat the system with a combination blade,
Right.
because it's got a series of blade of teeth that are close together, and then you have a wider gap. And so they're like, okay, with these series of teeth that are close together, they're going to prevent, tear out on the back of your plywood. But then if you're running lumber, the bigger gap in between every 4 or 5 teeth are going to let you eject the sawdust, a little bit better. So you're going to be able to rip a little bit better. So the problem is, based on my experience, they don't do either one as good as a dedicated. Now I'll give you this too. If you buy a blade dedicated for what it's supposed to do, all right, and you change that blade out, you will get better results. But the biggest problem is tooth count. That's what you need to pay attention to more than anything else.
So I just went back and looked. I'm running a CMT Extreme Orange Chrome Thin Curve 50 tooth alternate top bevel blade. That's what I'm running.
Yep. We call that a ripping blade. So that's what we rip lumber with.
Mm-hmm.
Now, anytime I have a plywood blade and I have a lumber blade. So
I'm going to have to buy a 4th table saw. Is that what that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Because I'm not changing blades. I'm not going to change blades. I'm going to need to buy a 4th table saw so that I don't have to change blades.
You get used to it after about 8,000 a job of swapping the blade. You get pretty used to it.
Because you know what happens every time I change the blade? Almost every time. I drop the stupid arbor nut down in the bottom into the dust collector, and I have to take the stupid thing apart to find my arbor nut. And that's why I don't change blades. That's exactly why I have two. That's why I have 2 dado saws. So I don't have to change the dado blades, because once you start putting a 3/4 dado stack in there, my hand doesn't fit in there very well, and I dropped a stupid arbor nut. That's what happened. That's what drove my frustration.
I've been there, but I got an easy fix for dropping the arbor nut.
Don't do
Easy.
it.
Nope, no. Easy fix.
A magnet on a stick.
Yeah, you get one of those extendo magnets for $5 at Harbor Freight, dip it down in there, tink, and it comes right back up. And I actually keep that on the bottom of my fence on the table saw.
I mean,
now,
I'm with
if
you.
If you drop it in a saw stop, you're screwed.
Oh, really?
Because now you're going under the saw stop, right? And if you're like me and you have like ADD and stuff, you open the side panel and you go under there, and you have to disconnect the dust collection hose, take it off, reach your arm in like you're checking a cow. You have to reach your arm about 6 feet down in that hose and grab that little old arbor nut and bring it out. And well, guess what? While you're under there, oh man, this riser needs a little grease.
Yeah.
This pivot hinge needs a little grease. Oh, I need to vacuum this thing out. The other day, I wasn't getting a vacuum in the saw stop. I was like, I don't feel any air going out the dust collection hose. I got up under there. The hose wasn't even hooked up. While I was under there, I was like, we really need to grease this thing.
Yeah.
So after we greased it, then we oiled it, and I cleaned it all out, and I vacuumed it all out, and I blew it all out, not in that order, and I got the dust collection hose. So we were an hour and a half doing maintenance on saws. That went to the other saw, right?
Right. Oh, well, if this saw's bad, then the other saw, I wonder what the other saw looks like.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I told Baby Cow, I was like, you need to go to that other saw over there. Now that I've showed you what all the oil and grease on this one, and you need to do the other saw. And he was up under he got the old grizzly saw and he got it done. But yes, get you an 80 tooth and then something less than an 80 tooth. 52, 50, 30. Don't do a 32 or a 30 tooth because that's like you're framing a house with a skill saw. Don't
Right.
do that. You got to have some kind of standard. Get you a 50 or a 52 tooth, and that is for lumber only. And we're talking just table saw now, just your main saw.
Right.
Get a CMT orange 80 tooth, and use that anytime you cut plywood.
Rip or cross? Does it
Rip
matter
or
on my
cross
claws?
because it don't because it's plywood.
Okay.
No matter which way you're cutting, you're ripping and cross cutting. So for those you don't know, when we say rip, that means we're cutting in the direction of the grain. When we cross cut, we're cutting across the direction of the grain. You're not really going to get tear out with a combo blade when you're ripping because you're going in the direction of the grain.
Right.
But when you cross cut with a combo blade, you're going to start to get tear out on it fairly quickly. The problem is if you get tear out on the exposed painted end of a cabinet, it's hard to hide that tear out because you're missing little old bitty chunks on the side of the cabinet. Now, a good workaround for that is I flip those parts. So if it's a painted part, I label that as a finished end. So when I cut that piece out on the table saw, I know that side is getting painted, and I flip it where the raw side is up, the finished side is down, and I run it through, and I get zero tear out.
Right.
So there is a way. If you want to hang on to your blade for 20 years, that's fine. But you have to flip your pieces so you're cutting down into the grain.
And I would say, like, I know I was kind of joking, but there are a couple of pluses to zero clearance inserts.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
if you're not running zero clearances, I would strongly consider it for a couple of reasons. One, it does minimize tear out. It does help with that. But the other thing is it is a lot safer. It stops small cutoffs from falling down inside of the blade and getting thrown and ejected around. And if it doesn't, because I don't think I told the story about the second dado saw that I bought. I don't think I told it on the podcast, but I think I told you that when I bought it, it had some busted stuff on the inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 100% convinced that the what was busted on the inside was a result of a small cutoff going through the insert and being bounced around inside of there. So that zero clearance helps with that. But the other side of a zero clearance that I think is the most helpful is, so if I was to take a picture of both of them actually, or all three of them, but my main table saw, I've taken a straight edge on the left side of my blade and on the right side of my blade, and I have a marker line that comes off that zero clearance insert and it comes all the way to the end of my table, and it's not 100%. Don't get me wrong. It's off by just a fractional margin, but it's pretty daggum close. But when you're trying to line up a cut, let's just so like. My table saw right now, 31 inches right hand side. That's the max that I can do, right? So if I have to kind of reverse a cut, so let's say I need a piece that's 50 inches, but I got to cut off 25 inches off of it. Well, I can use that line, right, that I've drawn off and with a tape, and I can pull 25 inches from my stop to the left side of my blade, so that I'm left with what I need without having to pull all the covers and without having to pull my blade guards and my vacuum cover off of the blade because I have that line. Or if I'm running, if I just need a cut off and I'm going to run my T-slot miter gauge, well, I can put my mark right on that line with my T-slot miter gauge, and I can get right there. Now I may have to like micro adjust over to kind of to really tighten it, but I can use that line down my table saw off the zero clearance insert to really tighten it up a lot. Um, I'm just a big fan. I like them. I think they're safer.
Yeah,
I think they improve the vacuum. I think they improve, suction. It's
especially
a
with a
tighter
riving
space.
knife. Yeah, especially
Yes.
with a riving knife on there. It will.
Yes.
It will. And I'll tell you what else helped me more often than not. Okay, so
And I've written this down. Don't think that I'm not listening. I got 80 tooth and 50 tooth ATBs in orange therapy. I mean, an orange
right.
CMTs. Orange therapy is a gem. If you've never heard of orange therapy,
I don't know what that is.
It's like a
I
gem.
get them for about $40 a blade.
Where do you buy them from?
Vaughn.
Vaughn.
Shout out Vaughn Plywood, Montgomery, Alabama.
I know taytools.com. That's who I buy. That's who I've bought my orange. I keep wanting to say orange therapy now. Orange CMT blades from.
Orange slushy.
Yeah.
What did you pay for them?
You
mean 7 months ago? What was the price 7 months ago when you bought it?
That's a good question. Let me look. I think I saw that.
Because I think I paid $42 for a blade, and they are. I mean, and again, we do have scales to keep in mind. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure we go through more sheets than you do on an average job. We go through 70 sheets a job, and like I said, 140 to 180 board feet of lumber.
It says 62.36 is what I paid, but I bought two of them at the same time, so I don't know if I paid $31 a blade. I would have to do the math on the whole order. Like, I don't know if I paid $31 a blade or if I paid $62. Now I had to pay. No, the whole order was $116, so I had to have paid $31 a blade for them. There's no way I paid $62. Yeah, I didn't pay $62 each. Okay,
so $31 on a $9,000 job.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not. Put a blade on it.
Terrible.
Put a blade on. No, it's not
terrible. It's not terrible margins. I don't love it, but
so and that's how I look at it. Now, if you want to go, 60 sheets per blade, really about 70 sheets per blade is usually about what we do. And then, I'm completely honest. I don't even look at the blade.
Yeah.
I take it off. I take the previous one. I always keep a backup blade because, I run a saw stop. So if I do run it into the break, I throw the whole thing away.
Right.
But I always keep one or two backup blades, and then I throw one away, and I put a new one on the saw.
Now,
I don't see it.
In fairness, in my defense, I run more MDF than you do.
Yeah.
Which is, there's no grain. So, I mean.
There's no grain. So you don't have to worry about tear out.
Rip cut, cross cuts, it's the same thing in MDF. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, maybe that's why I seemingly, I'm cheap, but maybe that's why I can seemingly run a blade a little bit longer than what you would consider that I should, is because, I do run a fair amount of MDF versus actual ply,
Yeah. And see, what's hard to gauge is a miter saw. Now, I run a 60 tooth 12-inch on the miter saw.
Yeah, I think I'm a 62 on both. Yeah.
So, that'll handle your little moldings, and if you do have to cross-cut lumber, it's not the best in the world, but it does fine. But the majority of what I cross-cut are nail bands, plywood, toe kicks, small, what we call shorts here.
Yeah.
That's typically what the miter saw sees. So I got a 60-tooth blade, and we change that out twice a year.
Yeah. Because some of that stuff, it doesn't matter. Like if I get a little tear out on a nail band, who cares?
Right, exactly. Nobody's going to see it.
Nobody ever sees it. It's no big deal.
You can hide it. Yeah. But and the other thing is with the zero
you start to
clearance,
get tear out, put a supporting board behind it. If it's something like that, if it's something you're not sure that you're going to get tear out of, but you don't need tear out on it, find a way to put a supporting board behind it and cut both boards and get the tear out. What's going to tear out is the back piece, the back where the blade is exiting where there's nothing supported at, right?
Right. Yep.
So if I've got two pieces of wood and they're stacked and my blade is coming across, the piece that is going to get the tear out is not the first piece that I'm entering into. It's the first piece that it's the last piece that I'm exiting that doesn't have anything to support it.
Yeah.
So if you're not sure, like if you're doing face frames, right? And let's just say you're not sure about what that blade is going to do, or let's say you're in a bad predicament and that's the last blade you got and you're starting to get tear out. Okay? Put a fake piece up there. You know, that's what my miter saw has a zero. Again, my miter saw has a zero clearance slot in it. I don't cut any angles on my miter saw. I've got two miter saws. The one that if I need to cut angles, I go to the other miter saw. But the one that I just cut face frames with, it has a zero clearance, so it's 100% supported. So that blade could possibly need to be changed for all I know. But the fact that it's supported by the fence, I'm not noticing any tear out because it's a supported cut because of the way my fence is designed.
What we do on floating shelves going between walls, I make them about an inch bigger than a quarter inch bigger than what they need to be, and then I wrap the edge I'm cutting in masking tape.
Mm-hmm.
I just wrap it around, and then you cut it. You don't have to worry about it tear out because again, it's going to try to tear out the tape, not the. And we're talking stained, finished already. Yeah. You know, I can't tear it out. You know, I have to really pay attention. So
I'll tell you what, I'll buy some extra blades. You buy a track saw, and we'll see how much those two things have changed our world.
Comparable. I don't know if that's comparable.
They're world changing. I promise you.
I think I might be getting the doo-doo end of that, though, because you're going to have me $1,500 in a track.
No, hey, Grizzly's got one that they just released that's pretty daggum good. It's like $163 with the track.
All right, I'll take a look at it.
Because
I do be wanting to get one, though, for real.
Look, and I'll tell you, so I see it all the time posted online, like people are asking about track saws. So I have a hard feeling about track saws. So, I have a Craig that I run the poo-poo out of it. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't know that there's a day. So I've got a weird line on my hand. Look at that. Why did I draw that line?
I don't know.
I don't have a day. I don't know that there's a day that I don't use my track saw, like the Craig saw. It's really, but it's underpowered. I will say that. You have to let it fully, you press the safety, pull the trigger. You better let it get to a full RPM before you engage a 3/4 inch sheet of MDF or it'll die. And when it feels that it's going to, it's kind of like a safety. If it feels like it's going to die down, it just shuts off. You got to back up, fire it up again.
So it's cordless?
No, it's corded.
It's corded?
It's corded.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess it's got like a clutch basically in it. I don't know.
Yeah.
That would be my only, that's my only real downside to it. That, and the reason why my business partner hates it is because a Festool saw is, I don't know if right-handed versus left-handed makes sense, but if you got the track laid down, right? And I'm looking at it, a Festool is going to cut on the right-hand side of the track. A Craig saw is going to cut on the left-hand side of the track. So it's super confusing to him because it's backwards for what he's used to. So that just, and all that means is that means that I've got to measure from right to left versus he needs to measure from left to right to know where to drop the track.
Yeah.
You know, if that makes sense. That's probably the biggest thing I would say. Like I'm ready to buy a second track saw, believe it or not. I want to buy a second one because I want to put one on the trailer and just leave it. So
yeah,
I'm at a pretty pivotal point of, do I buy another Craig saw that I'm used to, I'm familiar with the way it works, and I know which side to cut on, even though I'm a little frustrated by the underpowering of it, or do I buy a Festool that's not underpowered for the shop that I know I'm going to use every day, but it is the opposite of what I'm used to. Like, I
I think
actually,
you'd be okay. I wouldn't put a whole lot of heart into it being opposite.
you don't think so?
Because I feel like when you get the track laid on top
Yeah.
and you go to cut, you'll probably
You will. I mean, the worst thing you
like
do
you'll
is
be
you
like,
walk to the other side. Like you're like, oh,
mm-hmm.
and you spin around to the other side and cut it. You know,
Is that what you say?
I,
Oh,
yeah,
is that what you, is that what
that's what
you
I
say?
say. Oops, my bad. Yeah,
You dance
lollipops
around.
and sunshine. I could put this on the wrong side.
That's when Shakira's just blasting in the background and you just
Shakira,
dancing.
Shakira. Yeah, because these hips don't lie, baby.
I'm gonna look into them. And I'm gonna probably randomly buy one that's too expensive, and I'm gonna use it twice a year. My wife's gonna be real mad, and I'm just gonna give her your phone number.
I am. Maybe our installs are just wildly different. I just don't understand how you can go to an install and not use a track saw. Like, I'm just blown away by that. I really am. Because, like, when I finished the trailer today, you know what the last thing I put on the trailer was? No lie, my track saw.
Yeah.
And it was and honestly, I can't think of a reason why I need the track saw in this particular install. Because it's a right hand corner. There's no left hand wall. It's an open end. So like there's not
So
like
let's
I've got
take
to
that.
tuck it.
Well, let's take that, and that wall's out of plumb,
Right.
right? Would you then track saw your right style to match the wall?
My right style, no, but I might have to track saw the right hand side of the top of the countertop.
Oh, so you're doing tops too?
Yeah. Like
Okay.
it's just paint gray top. So if I
Okay.
put the top up there and the wall's not square, then yeah, I would 100% track the top to scribe. But I can't because
So what do you do
I've
if
got a
you have a
half inch.
gap?
Well,
What
I've
do you
got
do
a
if you have a
half inch
gap?
stile on the right hand side.
That's what I'm saying. So if you put the cabinet in and the cabinet's level, but you have a gap at the top and it's touching at the bottom, what do you do in that situation on the cabinet, not the top?
So this cabinet's two pieces. So there's a bottom, so there's a base. Then I'll put the top on, and then the uppers are essentially hutches that go all the way down. So I mean, if it's that bad between the two pieces because they're two separate components, if it's that bad, then I would actually draw a scribe line, take it outside, and throw the grinder on it for that one.
Okay, so that's kind of what I'm getting to. If you
Yeah,
have a wall, if you have a gap
yeah.
between your cabinet and the wall, you would adjust the frame.
If it's Well, now if it's a pretty straight line adjustment on the frame, yeah, I would throw the track on it. If I've got some waviness that I need to scribe, then I'm gonna draw me a scribe line and I'm gonna take the grinder to it.
So not too often you carry scribe mold on the trailer, set all the cabinets, and then come back and apply molding to the corner there to cover the gap.
Very seldomly do I put scribe molding,
Mm-hmm.
but I do on this trailer now that I have my own trailer. Yes, I have 3 sticks of scribe molding and 3 sticks of quarter round or
You know what we
not
cut? You know
quarter
how
round.
much scribe we cut for this job?
How much?
11 sticks of 10-foot scribe.
That's a lot. But it's different. It's I mean, it's just different when you're talking about a full house install.
Exactly.
You know,
Right. So to me, I've got, 10 seconds into cutting the scribe because it's all pre-finished, right? So I've got 10 seconds into cutting the scribe, 30 seconds holding it, 30 seconds, mounting it.
right?
So that's less than a minute I have, and that corner, and this dude, I sent you the video. Remember that video I sent you of this whole job?
Yeah,
So you see there's walls. Pretty much every single cabinet is against a wall.
right.
Not, and I guarantee you, out of 15 cabinets touching a wall, one will not need any kind of scribe or adjustment.
Yeah.
I mean, it's prevalent, man.
Oh, I
It's,
agree.
it's
I
too,
agree.
it's too much. So the track saw to me on the job site Like it would come in if I have built cabinets wall to wall
Yeah.
and the walls are just too far out and I have to remove material to get the cabinets in.
But yeah, I guess the difference is because my jobs are so much smaller, right? That I build. So you probably factor, do you factor in like a 16th on each side?
No, nobody. I factor in a 1/4 inch on each side.
So okay, so you're factoring a
Mm-hmm.
gap. So I factor
Yep.
wall to wall and I scribe because if I have to pull down, if I have to cut one cabinet, not a big deal. You're doing a full house install. If you have to cut every cabinet in a full house install, that's a big deal.
Yeah, this is 30
Yeah.
cabinets on this
Yeah.
job.
So I mean, I see the difference. I mean, for sure.
But like I said, there's been times where I've had to. Matter of fact, I scribed a countertop to brick on the last job.
Ugh.
So I
Terrible.
had
I hate it.
a wild hair, and I said, you know what? Because we got done before I thought we would get done. Right? It was
Yeah.
one of them finish up days. You know what I'm saying? Hang hardware, go through adjust doors, yada yada. I said, I got a little extra time. I'm gonna scribe this top to the wall,
Yeah.
to the brick, and I put which I got to get a better scriber. I don't like mine, but anyway, I did it, and I traced the brick on the top, and I went outside with a belt sander, and I said zing 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 zing, and I got it all belt sanded, and phoom, put it in, and baby cow's head almost exploded.
Yeah.
That's what we think about that, buddy. But I had time to do it. Now the builder comes in, especially on white cabinets, white painted tops. You know what I'm saying? He comes in and he does all if there's any little crack or whatever, he caulks it. He handles all that stuff.
Gotcha.
And when everybody's done, everything is seamless. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
what he does. And he'll even tell me if it's a tiny crack, like a 32nd to a 16th, and it's not the whole thing, just leave it. I'll caulk it.
Yeah.
But
Caulk and
it's
paint
just,
will make what a carpenter ain't.
and it's his house, so I'm like,
But if
you
it's a
wanna do
wall,
that, that's
so
fine.
if it's something I know I've got to scribe, like if it's something I know for sure I'm going to scribe, like a brick wall or a rock wall, whatever that edge is at the shop, I 45 that edge,
Yep. So you don't
All
have
right.
as much to remove.
so you don't have as much to remove, and then sanding wheel on a grinder is. And that's how I do that's how I cope all my trim. That's how I cope all of my crown, is with that sanding wheel. Like
Mhm.
I'm not breaking out a coping saw for anything.
No,
It's too
not in
tedious.
2023.
It's too time consuming. And not when there's MDF. Like there's no reason to be coping MDF.
No.
It doesn't make sense. But I'll put it on that grinder and cope it all out. But no, I see what you're saying about a track saw. I guess I kind of see why you don't need as, and you're not doing you don't do many tops.
Mm-mm.
I mean, you do some, but I mean, you don't do many. I do a lot of paint grade tops, and it's just almost every top has to be tracked, almost every
Yeah.
time. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah. Tops are the worst.
But I mean, even like this last job I did, hanging shiplap, right? Like the in what you would call the knee section of this desk, the shiplap need to be just kind of cut just a little bit. I didn't take a table saw. I took my track saw, and I just run it across that track saw, and cut that shiplap with it. So I guess I mean, I see what you're saying. I guess the application does apply, but in the shop, and I guess that's another reason. Maybe that's why I don't find a problem with the saw, because a lot of my cross cuts are actually done with the, I don't do on the table saw, because I've only got a 30-inch, 31-inch, if I really push it,
Yeah, and that's
cross cut capability. So I rip cut, and my outfeed table, this between the dado saw and the table saw, my main table saw has a piece of 1-inch foam board on it. So I rip cut, and then it lands on the outfeed table. The outfeed table's got the foam on it, and I cross cut with the track saw right there.
Yeah. And see, I wouldn't use it in the shop because my table saw is 8x10.
Yeah.
And so we just put full sheets, and we just run full sheets through there.
Yeah, see, I can't
which is
cut that. My Hank is back. Did you see that?
Yep, I saw it a couple of times. I'm gonna say that, but that's another reason that zero clearances don't last in here very long.
Yeah.
I'll put it in, and then now I'm wrestling a 4x8 piece of 3/4, and it comes off the fence a 16th, and it pushes the blade over, and now I don't have I got close to zero in clearance,
Yeah.
but it's not zero anymore. It's 0 plus a 16th.
Well, I don't think any of my inserts stay at zero clearance because of the same thing, that same kind of stuff. I mean, wobbling around and stuff, but anything that keeps a scrap from fall, I call a zero clearance anything that can keep junk from falling down in it,
Because you don't want that, buddy.
Gives me a good line, to set things. Like I had to do a dado for this install tomorrow. I had to do a dado like in the middle of a 65-inch sheet of plywood, and I just stood it up on the end where I had the dado marked, and I just used my zero clearance insert to set my fence. I mean, it was just it's right there. It's a 3/4 inch dado. On that saw. Not the 1/4 inch dado, since I have 2 dado saws now. So
brag about it. Won't you brag about it?
I am. Look, I'm excited about it. It's been even having the fence. It made a big difference just having that much table to adjust a fence to do a dado in the middle of a 65-inch board. Like that was actually pretty significant. Now the tape measures don't make they don't make any hide or tail of anything, but that's why I stood it up like I did, and then use the fence to kind of line it up. But well, I mean, I feel educated. I mean, I feel better. I feel like I should. I'm gonna order some blades tonight because I think I'm where I need to order blades anyway. I think it's about time. And then I'm gonna go on Marketplace and I'm gonna find a 4th table saw. That's just all there is to it. Because
sorry, Kim,
I'm not going to keep changing. There was actually a really good deal on a grizzly saw the other night that I almost see these 4520s. I'm just telling you, look, hey, if you're a beginner woodworker and you're looking for a decent table saw, search for a rigid 4520. It is a pretty good cabinet saw. It's a little bit above the contractor saw. I mean, here's one online. It's $450. I mean, but that's a full table, 31-inch cut. It's got the casters. It's fully adjustable. I mean, these are solid saws. These are what I run for my dado saws. I have 2 of these that are connected together. I don't love the magnetic power strip or power switch on these. I like the big paddles on the 4520s a little bit better. Perfect, to be perfectly honest with you. But I saw there was a grizzly online. I was going to send it to you and I forgot. It may be gone already. That
you need to find me a 3-horse shaper.
3-horse shaper. I'll look. I'm gonna write it down.
I mean, used. 3
horse. That's going to look like hours later, but shaper. Used. Okay. I can do that.
You got 3 hours to find me one.
3 hours to find you a shaper.
What you're going to think.
It's going to take 3 hours to edit episode 7.
And look, if it's in Nashville, just go pick it up and bring it down here to me.
Consider it done. I mean, I need an excuse to come see you because you're not going to come see me.
Well, look at there. We're at 2:40. Time to wrap it up.
Time to go. Gotta go. Thanks for stopping by. All right. No, I mean, but I do think it's kind of time to wrap it up because I'm pretty sure that we've stretched everybody into overtime, and I feel like my wife is probably hungry, so it's probably time she's cooked. So we typically don't cook on the weekends. And because I've been working, she's cooked every night. There he is.
There he is, right on time.
I don't know why I keep searching for a train sound effect when I could just get you to go outside and record one at 7 o'clock on Sunday night every night.
He's headed your way.
Well, he's heading northbound?
Yep.
I hear you.
Anyway, what are y'all having?
Mexican, surprisingly.
Ain't no shame in that game, man.
No, we just hadn't gone this week, so it's time.
All right.
Well,
Well, you go
what you
get you
got?
some.
What are your parting words?
Lean out this week. Lean out. Find something. I've been watching, Gas Monkey Garage, right, with Richard Rawlings down in Dallas, Texas. Gas Monkey. Well, he has a spinoff show where he goes and he rehabs other garages, hot rod shops, regular mom and pop, oil change places, whatever, and he gives them $100,000-$200,000. He becomes part owner for a little while. Oh, mine is. It shows me recording. Well, guys, you just have me. Travis had to go. He had, um, Travis has always had problems with anal fissures, so he's probably dealing with that. Oh, never mind.
Oh, what in the world?
Never mind. He's back.
That was super weird. Okay.
I
So
forgot what I
Richard
was saying.
Rawlings was
Oh yeah. So he goes and he revamps these garages,
yeah.
and he gives them $100,000-$200,000, whatever. He becomes part owner of the business, and then while he's revamping it, he's the boss. They do what he says.
Okay.
And he goes and throws everything away and brings in new lifts or whatever, new equipment, and gets everything organized. And then it's amazing what the money that these amount of shops can make after they get organized and they get cleaned up. So go out to your shop, put some music on, clean it up, get rid of crap. You're not going to use that stick of wood you got in the corner. Get rid of it. Redo it. Come up with a plan. Come up with storage solutions and get after it. I want you guys to be more efficient. Mom, you can probably throw some of that fabric away. I'm just saying.
Oh,
And get,
we are throwing stones.
I'm pushing it.
We're throwing All right. I mean, we are legitimately. Mitch's mom sent me an email last week, so he is throwing stones.
Coming after you, Mom. But anyway,
Yeah, like especially not just scraps, but tools. If it's a tool you haven't touched in 6 months. Now look, there's once on occasion tools that you gotta have. You don't use them very much. I understand that. But evaluate the need for that tool. Is it collecting dust? Can you use it? Can you turn it over for some used money to put that money towards a tool that will better enhance your life? Like evaluate what you're not using in your shop. I mean, if you got a floor nailer in there and you install 3, floors a year, yeah, don't sell that. You need that. Don't kill that thing. If you got a floor nailer and you don't ever intend on installing another floor in your life, kill it. Like get rid of it. Sell it for $50. Put that $50 towards a tool that's going to improve your efficiency in the shop. Like,
and get out there, clean it up. That's my parting words of those are my parting words of wisdom this week. As well as come back with all 10 fingers.
Bring it all back to the shop. Yep, I couldn't think of a better way to leave. And again, as always, take one more step forward. If you went out there and you started as a hobby, start looking at commission jobs. Hey, what can I do? Go on Facebook Marketplace, post a couple of things that you built. Ask what people are wanting to do. I don't encourage you to build things that people haven't asked you to build. That's kind of dangerous territory. Then you start getting into that pricing game of just trying to figure out what to sell it for. Get people to ask you to build something for them, and then start working on the pricing there. You know what you're going to make, and then you know what kind of timeline you need to be in. If you're going to make $50 on it, then you know that that's a project that you need to do relatively fast. You're going to make $300 on it. Well, time is money. You're going to be able to have a little bit more time to spend on that project before you need to turn it around. So just, post your stuff and get some feedback on it. And if you're the one looking at somebody's project, give some positive feedback. Don't be a keyboard warrior and just kill somebody just because they've, criticize them just because they posted something. Remember what your first project looked like too. Yep.
Mine was horrible.
Oh man. I'll post some pictures on our social medias of these doors, and you know, I'm not ashamed of them. I'm pretty proud of them because I'll post a picture of some doors that I just built right next door to it. And I mean, it
Yep,
takes time, it takes education, it takes learning to get better at things. So
that's right.
go out there, start something, chase a dream. Even if it's just on a hobby level, go after it and
Get it.
and take that step. But
Speaking of
thanks for
getting it, we
listening to the
finna get it.
podcast. Yeah, I'm gonna get it if I don't get her to dinner soon. That's for sure. But thanks for listening to the podcast. We hope everybody enjoyed it. We've had a good time. I could probably go another 2 hours or so, but the wives want their time back too, so we're gonna give it to them. But I think we're gonna take next week off. What do you think? Easter week.
Sure, sounds good to me.
I think we're a little ahead of the game. We'll take a week off. You guys won't notice it as far as the actual posting of the stuff, but we'll take next Sunday off, and
Because it's way past Easter when you're listening to this.
right, you're like Easter, it's Christmas,
4 months ago.
right? But we'll take a week off, and then we'll reconvene, and hopefully we'll have seen each other in the meantime. I mean,
That's right.
We'll see what happens.
I've got a little gift for you when you come down.
Oh,
I got a little
boy.
gift.
All right,
gift.
all right. But hey, go after it. Chase a dream, and we hope you've enjoyed us. If you haven't, tell us about it. Offcuts
either way.
at styleboys.com. If you enjoyed us, offcuts at styleboys.com. If you want to sponsor us, offcuts at styleboys.com. If you don't want to sponsor us, offcuts at styleboys.com. We don't care. Just email us. We want to hear from you. We want to know that you listen, that you're not going to hurt our feelings. I promise you,
That's right.
I have no feelings left. The Marine Corps took them all.
We're beyond that.
All right, buddy. Have a good week. We'll talk to you soon, and we'll see you later.
Go get some carnitas.
All right, man. See you.
All right, see ya.
Bye.